Good evening and welcome to our June 22nd council meeting. We have a full council at this time. And if you would, please stand. Councilwoman Dusty Brantner is going to lead us in the pledge, and the invocation of them be done by Councilwoman Alma Flores. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Good evening. As we open tonight's meeting, let us remember that our role is one of service to our community and to one another. May we carry out the work before us with wisdom, professionalism, and respect for all voices and viewpoints. With appreciation for the opportunity to serve, let us begin tonight's meeting. Amen.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to item number 5. We have any citizen comments on agenda items?
Mayor, we have two citizen comments for agenda item number 12.3, and they would both like to speak during the item. So if it's okay with you, we'll have them speak before staff presents.
Okay.
Thank you.
And then any citizen comments on non-agenda items?
We do not.
None? Okay. Then we're going to close our regular meeting and open up a public hearing. Public hearing for, excuse me, a partial rezoning of parcel 103-09-042 and 103-09-041.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This is a request for a public hearing. The applicant, Stephen Kumard, requests a partial rezoning of Graham County parcels 10309. Parcels 103-09042 and 103-09041 from the C2 Highway Commercial to R16 Single Family Residential to allow construction of a new subdivision. The parcels are currently undeveloped and located near existing residential uses with planned access through a future extension of 26th Street. They are not addressed at this time. The required neighborhood meeting was held on May 7th, 2026, with one resident attending. After that, one inquiry was received regarding a utility easement and access to a walking path. Public notices were mailed and the property was posted as required. The proposed rezone aligns with the 2016 City of Safford General Plan by supporting infill development, providing appropriate transitions near existing neighborhoods, and enabling improved street connectivity. The property lies within the Safford Neighborhood's character area, which promotes compact development and street extensions. Planning and Zoning Commission held a public hearing on June 1st, 2026, and unanimously recommended approval, citing the need for additional housing and the project's consistency with general plan goals. With that, I will stand for questions, and a map of the area is on your screen.
Jamie, I call you by your first name because I have a hard time saying your last name forever. Sorry about
Fine.
that. But I am concerned. You mentioned a little bit about 26th Street going through there. Do we have any problems with that developing that way?
Yes, Mayor and Vice Mayor. They've actually worked with our Public Works Director, Lance Henry, to make sure that that connection supports future city development. And it was one of the requests from the city that they show where that would go through. And Mr. Henry has worked with them on the design for that.
And also, all the frontage road on the highway, that is to be residential now also?
No, Mayor and Vice Mayor, it's green on your map and it will remain C2.
Okay, because there's a few lots that aren't, have any color coding at all there. So, but all the frontage is still there.
Yes, sir. The color-coded lots are the ones that the applicants own.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Anybody else? There's a public hearing. Anybody in the public? If not, thank you, Jamie.
you.
We'll move on to item number 2, 2026 to 2036 general plan for the city of Safford.
Yes, sir. I will present the staff report for that. And then we have Garrett here from the Planning Center for the presentation as well. Okay, here is the presentation for this public hearing. This is a request for the mayor and council to hold a public hearing to discuss adopting the 2026-2036 general plan for the city of Safford. The current city of Safford general plan was adopted in November 28th of 2016, and we were required to update it and on or before November 28th, 2026. Given the in-depth comprehensive planning process that was completed in 2016, the current general plan is still applicable in most areas and has been updated. City staff would like to emphasize the importance of the general plan in guiding policy decisions. As the city of Safford has passed the 10,000 population threshold, this plan will need to be approved by the voters in the November election. The Planning and Zoning Commission voted unanimously to approve the 2026-2036 general plan after a public hearing during their meeting on June 1st, 2026, and city staff will begin public outreach in August. I have my first outreach scheduled with the radio station to be on the Voice of the Valley. So starting August, we'll start letting people know it'll be on the ballot and really put information out so they know what it is, that it's not raising taxes or anything. It's simply our plan moving forward for the next 10 years. With that, I will hand it over to Garrett, and he does have a presentation.
Thank you, Director Embick. Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the council, thank you for having me here tonight and the culmination of all our work over the past few months. And this meeting is been a long time coming for the city of Safford through this process and for the Planning Center as well. And so I'm happy to be here to present for our final meeting. And I first just wanted to thank all of you, the city of Safford, City Manager Eric Bejarano, and all the city staff that has put effort into this update and has provided us comments and has helped us along with this update so that we can provide the best possible general plan for the city of Safford for the next 10 years. So first, I just wanted to go over just a quick agenda. This is going to be a very, very quick presentation, just going over kind of what's happened since I was last in front of you all. As you can recall, we were in front of you prior to heading out to the 60-day agency review, taking comments and trying to get any last little bits before we sent that out. And so I'll talk first briefly about some of those comments we heard from you all at that meeting. So I apologize for the font size there. It's a little small. But just some of those comments that we had heard. So language has been changed to capacity fees. I know that was a terminology change that the city of Safford had changed from impact fees to capacity fees. So we made that change. And then particularly Vice Mayor Lopez, you had a couple comments on traffic signalization and making sure that that is a priority for the city to make sure that there's locations and it's continually evaluated. So we had gone ahead and added action item 3 to goal 2.3, and that action item is now determine the feasibility of installing traffic signals prior to roadways meeting typical traffic warrants. So this is just in case, you know, maybe a traffic signal is necessary there for certain reasons, but a traffic warrant's saying, we don't need to put one there, but maybe it's the the council's pleasure or the residents of the city of Safford that one is there prior to that traffic warrant. And so that's just to continue to evaluate those as we go forward. And then you had also had some comments regarding maintenance of city assets. And so we went ahead and we looked at that section of the general plan as well, just to see if there was any existing goals, policies, or action items that kind of addressed that. And we noticed there was a little bit of a gap. So we appreciate your comment. And so we went ahead and we added a whole new goal there. That's goal 8.4, ensure the proactive, efficient, and cost-effective maintenance of all city assets. So the policies there support consistent and reliable maintenance of city facilities, vehicles, equipment, and infrastructure to protect public safety, extend asset life, and minimize disruptions to community services. And the action items within that policy being periodically update a comprehensive inventory of city-owned buildings, vehicles, equipment, and infrastructure, including assessments of their condition to support informed long-range planning, and use the comprehensive inventory to develop and maintain a citywide maintenance program that identifies priorities, schedules, and resource needs for the upkeep, repair, and modernization of city assets. So those were some of the comments we heard from the council at our last meeting prior to going out to that 60 agency review. Those are some of the changes we made to the general plan just to address those comments and make sure that we're getting everything that the council had identified as being necessary to include in that general plan update. And so after it went out to agency review, that 60-day agency review, we didn't receive many comments back, but who we did receive comments back was from the Safford City Graham County Library, the Arizona State Land Department, and the Arizona State Historic Preservation Office. And so the comments for the library were some minor cleanup items, making sure we use the terminology and language that the library would like to use and align it more with the direction the library would like to go. Again, these were very minor, as you can see in the agenda packet. The red lines for that section of the general plan is maybe a few sentences that got a few words mixed around. But so those were some very minor comments. And then the Arizona State Land Department, they had identified a few different areas in the plan that they just wanted to make sure that they were called out specifically within some of the goals and policies as a partner. So one of the main topics that they had picked up on was the master planning of the airport in the future and making sure that Arizona State Land Department is part of that master planning because they do own state land around the airport, and they would like to make sure that what the city of Safford does to increase economic development at the airport, it's something that can also be beneficial to their land as they are the stewards of that state land, which that land, the money from their sales of that land go back to our education in the state of Arizona. And so it's very important that they're a partner in that, and they just wanted to make sure that that was coming through in the general plan. So we made those changes as well. And then lastly, we had received comments back from the Arizona State Historic Preservation Office. Those were comments making sure that we identified the multiple resource area the city of Safford had gone through in the 80s to identify several historic buildings. So we went ahead and we made a specific couple sentences in that section of the general plan to call out that multiple resource area and identify those buildings. And we also added a new action item that was about the preservation and protection of prehistoric artifacts within the city of Safford. A lot of the general plan currently talks about historic artifacts, so things that have maybe come out in the past 100, 150 years here in the city of Safford, but the prehistoric being those that have obviously much longer time frames, 1,000 years or so for the amount of time that people have been living in this valley. And so we did add a new action item, and that being adopt an ordinance for the protection of prehistoric resources that requires a desktop review to identify known sites, establishes mitigation protocols, and when appropriate, requires an archaeological survey and tribal consultation. And so this is also an ordinance that makes sure that we're a little bit more aligned with state law as far as when we do discover any sort of prehistoric artifacts. And so that was, those were some of the changes we made after getting comments back from the 60-day agency review. As I had mentioned, they were very minor comments. I think in total from the few different agencies, it was maybe about 12 comments in total. And so again, this is very minor comment changes that we made, but those were the changes that were made to the general plan after that 60-day agency review. And so now we are here before you on June 1st. As Director Embick had mentioned, the Planning and Zoning Commission recommended approval of the adoption of the general plan by the mayor and council here tonight. And that is where we're at. And so once this general plan is adopted, it will be going to the voters on Tuesday, November 3rd for ratification. And so at that, I will take any questions you may have.
Any questions?
Hey, this time around, since because of the census, we went over 10,000, it has to be voted on by the people.
Correct.
What happens if it gets voted down?
If it gets voted down, the current general plan will stay in effect until a new general plan is adopted by the voters. And so you would have to go through the process of changing that general plan and making sure we go through another public process to address what the voters are currently apprehensive about, that maybe that's why they voted it down. So you would go through that process again, and you would set it up to go on to another election to be adopted.
The following year or a special election?
It would be a special election, I believe, and I believe that timing is to when you can, it would be up to this council, but sooner the better. Yeah, no problem.
Anybody else? If there's nobody else, then we'll go ahead. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
So we're going to close public hearing, reconvene into a work session. Okay, item 10, work session, updating Title 15, that's the buildings and construction of the City of Safford Municipal Code. Jamie?
Yes, sir. Good evening again, Mayor and Council. This is a request for Mayor and Council to hold a work session to discuss updating Title 15, Buildings and Construction of the City of Safford Municipal Code. Building codes are updated regularly by the International Code Council and other agency. The currently adopted codes are outdated and due for an update. Staff has worked with all our local jurisdictions to make sure that we are on the same code cycle. So for other entities, it will be a bigger jump than for Safford. Planning and Zoning Commission held a work session on the topic on June 15th. We've also had public meetings with local contractors. The City of Safford has contracted Shums Coda and Associates to review our current codes and suggest amendments and updates. And I believe Barbara Rice is online this evening if you have questions technically for her. By updating the code cycles and working with other local jurisdictions, the city will be aligned with national best practices and valley-wide regulations. Staff requests that the mayor and council hold a work session to offer another opportunity for community input before the ordinance proceeds with the city council. In your packet, you have our current building code and the recommended amendments. With one addition, we've had a developer call us regarding a possible tiny home development. And so Appendix BB with council recommendation would be included and added to our code. We had not previously adopted it, but if we do have tiny homes in the city of Safford, we'll need to update our building code and our zoning code. So if you would like to discuss Appendix BB, tiny homes, Barbara can answer technical questions about that. And so because that affects density and parking and all of those lot sizes, it'll be looked at with our zoning code update as well. So if we just adopt the appendices BB for tiny homes, then we'll have that regulation in place, and then we can move forward with the administrative zoning code update. With that, I will stand for questions.
Was there any comment on the tiny homes from the Planning and Zoning Commission?
This has happened since they had their hearing. So I figured tonight we would put it in our work session so that the topic can start being discussed because the developer called after that. So they didn't have the question posed to them. And the appendices aren't adopted unless you specifically adopt them. So it doesn't mean we have to change our code to allow tiny home developments. It just means one step in the process is done if we so choose to in the future. Instead of one ordinance, we would do two if we didn't adopt the appendices now. I don't know if the development will move forward, but it was a call that we received, so.
Tiny homes. Tiny homes to me is what I've seen on TV. I've never seen it here.
Correct.
So I'm not quite sure what it is.
Yes, and so I can, Barbara, actually, I could pull up my email. I believe she sent me the appendices, and I can pull that up for you. Is she online, Mo? Okay. Barbara, would you please, while I pull this up, give them a brief overview?
Yes, I will. Mayor and council, good evening. Basically, Appendix BB for tiny homes is an appendix in the International Residential Code. And it allows for tiny homes that are 400 square feet or less, depending on whether or not the jurisdiction wants to allow them smaller than that. What it does is it lessens some of the very restrictive requirements or some of the requirements for your basic regular single family dwelling unit as far as building size, room size, stairways, and lofts. It has provisions for sleeping lofts, ceiling height requirements are lowered. Basically, it's allowing for the smaller homes, like you see on the television, and then in these smaller home developments, to be built on a single family dwelling lot, or in this case, as a development.
Okay.
Yes. And so by adopting the appendix, we'll have these rules in our code because right now we can only go by the minimum for a single family residential, which is larger than a tiny home. It's small, but it's not technically a tiny home. And so I want to look at the code comprehensively if we do adopt this because our smallest lot size is 6,000 square feet. So a tiny home on a 6,000 square foot lot wouldn't really make sense. So it would be the beginning of looking at this.
Thank you.
So if we do approve this, these tiny homes can go into any lot in the city?
They could, yes, but
Okay.
currently it wouldn't be cost effective because they would have to buy or build it on a 6,000 square foot lot.
Is there a way we can do it to where, I mean,
We could adopt it later.
$400,000 house and then all of a sudden you have a tiny home next to it.
Correct. So we could adopt it later if that's the council's preference, and that's why I wanted to discuss it tonight is kind of what order do you want to do it in? Do you want to deal with it all as one issue in it on its own, not with the building code, or would you like to include it in the building code? It sounds like you would like to do it in a separate process.
Yeah, I'm not against tiny homes, but I just don't want them just to be thrown in neighborhoods that.
I was thinking of a zoning overlay, like our planned unit development. So we were thinking of that. So this has only come up in the last week. So if with this work session, if your direction is let's hold off on that appendix and work on it as one larger issue, that's absolutely fine with me. I just didn't want to not bring it to your attention because we did have a call about it. So either way you decide is completely fine with me.
I don't mind having like a development
Mhm.
where they go in, but sounds like if we approve this like this, they can just go anywhere.
So they would be on a 6,000 square foot lot or a 10,000 square foot lot. One.
That's my concern.
Okay, so with that, if the rest of the council I'm hearing is okay, we'll do tiny homes all as their own issue and not adopt the appendix?
You bring it back to us.
Okay. And that is going to take some research on my part, so it will probably be in the fall. I need to look at other jurisdictions and
Anybody else have any comments?
This is a really common question out in the county because, but it's usually an owner builder wanting to do one. And so I'm guessing that the county is going to do something to put it into their next go around. And if we're going to stick with them, probably, I don't know, if we put it in now, I mean, it's got to be in there to use it, but I don't know if you do this first or you figure it out first.
it sounds like we could figure it out first and adopt the appendix in the same ordinance. Am I correct in that, Ms. Rice?
Yes, you are correct in that. And also, I am not sure I understand correctly when there was just now discussion about owner building wanting to put one on their lot. Is that, if that is in addition to a single family dwelling they already have, that would be a different appendix to the IRC and probably different zoning issues if you're speaking about accessory dwelling units.
No, this was one person needing a bedroom and a place to sleep while they worked, and that's all they wanted on their lot. But
Got it.
it's got to be dealt with.
Any other questions about that or any other sections?
I just want to know, with these changes, you said that you were in a work session. Are we aligning with the county and Thatcher and Pima? So there's no more, they do this, we do that. Are we trying to get all as one?
Yes, ma'am. Mayor Ortega and Councilwoman Brantner, we have had several meetings together. We're working together so that we're all, first of all, on the same code cycle. They're very different currently right now. And also the things that we're editing out, such as the exist on page 3 of 43, the intermittent exhaust control for bathrooms, all of us are doing that. There may be some slight variations, and we're doing ours first. So depending on their public comment, how that goes, they may have slightly different. But the biggest, most important thing is that we're all on the same code year and that we have minor amendments. And so shear nailing on walls had come up. That will all be the same now. Things like that will all be the same.
And you're going to meet with contractors again.
Yes, we will probably put out a notice. I think they're very busy, so we may send out an email. Raymond Osornio in the gas department said he has a very comprehensive list of contractors. I may send out an email with the information and have the ones that have questions call me. Also, all county-wide inspectors have been discussing this every time they go on an inspection. So a lot of the questions came in that way, and they've already been answered.
If you want them to show up, you just got to buy them lunch.
Big lunch.
Any more discussion or comment?
Mayor, if I could jump in real quick, for item 2, there was a little bit of confusion on item 2 of the work session. I found out only very recently that this item was based on a request I had made for an executive session. And I think Mr. Sims tried to get a hold of me and couldn't about the fact that maybe it couldn't be an executive session. So I don't know that we're prepared to have that discussion in a work session. So I'd be in favor of, I don't know if we need to table it in a work session or if we just give direction to reschedule it, but that would be where I would lean.
Mayor, I think we want to make sure, are we done with Jamie's item?
Do you have any other direction besides, I'll make tiny homes a separate code update?
You were going to be bringing that.
Yes. Any other comments, questions? Thank
Sorry,
you.
Jamie.
Thank you.
And Mayor, Councilman Hemphill, if you'd like to table the item, you should be able to make that motion if you
It
wish.
does require a motion.
Yeah, it would be a motion and
Yes.
with a
Okay.
second and a vote.
I'll make the motion then to table item 2 of the work session.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to table item number 2 of the work session. All in favor? Opposed? Did you have something?
Yes, sir, I did. I just kind of wondered, there must be a reason why we couldn't have had it in these sessions, so I'm looking forward to find out what it is all about.
Me too. That was a
Mr.
point of
Mayor,
tabling.
this is,
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, this is Bill Sims. The issue that arose, Councilmember Hempel and I were unable to connect on the phone.
There's a motion.
He had a concern about comments made about an employee. That would have required a different agenda item that would allow e-session. If however, you just wanted a discussion regarding issues you have among yourselves under the Code of Ethics, that had to be an open session. So I was prepared to provide an update on just the code itself without specificity regarding an individual and matter. Councilmember Hempel was concerned about an individual matter, and I explained that, I left him a voice message. And so if he wishes to discuss that, we could do that in e-session appropriately. But tonight, we're not agendized for an e-session. All this was an open discussion regarding the Code of Ethics.
And we do have your motion on the floor in a second, so I think we need to act on it. I'm not sure.
I captured the vote as everyone in favor. Is that correct? Except I didn't see a vote from Vice Mayor because there was, it's up if you want to do another all in favor now that the discussions happened.
Okay,
Did I remake the motion, Mayor?
You table it for now, Brad?
I move that we table item 2 of the work session, Code of Ethics for elected and appointed officials.
And I still second.
okay, we have a motion and a second to table item 2, the Code of Ethics for the elected and appointed officials. All in favor? Any opposed? And we'll move on to item 11. We'll close the work session and reconvene into our regular meeting. Item number 12, under new business. Number 1, the library mural finalists.
Yes, good evening, Mayor and Council. Staff is requesting the Mayor and City Council to provide direction on a preferred artist from the 3 finalists, which are listed below. This is part of our strategic goals of library services. A little bit of a background, the Mayor and City Council approved $40,000 in the fiscal 26 budget to add a mural to the exterior of the library on March 9th by Resolution R26-013. The location of the mural is the north exterior of the wall of the library. It is facing 8th Street at a size of approximately 628 square feet. The library advertised a call to artists to seek applications for the project from March to April of 2026. All applicants were asked to submit a letter of interest, references, and examples of previous work. A total of 28 applications were received, of which staff reviewed and selected 3 finalists, which are listed below. All have previous experience in executing large-scale murals with multiple organizations. Finalists were also tasked with creating a proposal to be presented to the Mayor and City Council for review. Once an artist is selected, staff will work with the artist to create a final concept for Mayor and Council review prior to the commencement of the mural. The mural is currently due to be completed by October 1st of this year. So staff is requesting the Mayor and City Council to review the proposals and provide direction on a preferred artist, as well as any initial feedback on that chosen artist design. So I aired and did not attach the resolution, so that is on the dais today. And I have all 3 artists. One is right behind me, Camila, and she will present first. And then we'll have Clyde Thompson and Molly Keene. And just bear in mind, this is again just a this is just to provide feedback. These are by no means the final products, We just would like feedback today if there is an artist the council would prefer, and from there, we'll keep going with the design process. So with that, I'll leave it to Camila. She'll be up first.
Okay. Is it shown? I don't know. Oh, there it is. Okay. Okay. Hi, everyone. My name's Camila. I am a muralist. I have a little over 10 years of experience painting murals, and I'm from Tucson, Arizona, so just 2 hours away from here. And the presentation's on the screen now, so if you'd like to look at the screen. Well, am I limited to any time? No? Okay. This presentation goes kind of in depth, but I'll keep it clear. So I'm from Tucson. I'm passionate about creating art that just connects people and brings stories to life. So I put a lot of intent behind my murals. My designs can take sometimes longer than the mural painting itself, just because I really want to capture a message with my murals. And I guess another fun fact about me is that I quit engineering. I was a civil engineer, and I quit that to become a muralist just because that's what I'm passionate about. So why the library is so special to me is I grew up immersed in a library close to my home. And this library, I was really glad to see all of the efforts put behind just bringing the community in, everything that they do, of all ages, like young people, older people. So I think the efforts with just opening the doors to the community is fantastic. So that's kind of a theme that I used for my mural. So the inspiration is that this place inspires creativity and learning for people of all ages. There's constant efforts to engage the community with classes like cardboard parties, cooking classes, plant workshops, and more. And then reading encouragement as well. So giving rewards and challenges such as Are You Smarter Than a Librarian? Earning reading badges and more of that. So here's a before picture, and then here is my proposed design. And I'll do some close-ups so you can see all of the elements shown in the mural. But the concept is just that it's a girl reading the book of the Safford City Graham Library, and then the back of the book says it's more than just a good read. So it really captures just all of the events that happen here at the mural, at the gallery. So this is a zoomed in piece of the middle of the focal point that has a girl reading the book. And then the motto, more than just a good read. It has two people in the back sharing a badge, a reading badge. And then the three people in the further back are a part of a book club. So it kind of captures the community behind reading in the library. And then this one was fun for me because I did come from a background of civil engineering, and I'm artsy. So when I was scrolling down on the Facebook page of the library, I just noticed all of the different events they had here. So they had a roller coaster inspired field trip. So it was an engineering field trip where they built roller coasters, and I used that rail that's existing, and I just kept it going to create a nice flow with the wall. I like to really play with the space that I'm using. And so instead of it being an obstruction, I leaned into it and kind of put it into the flow of the mural. I also chose a train as the roller coaster carts just because we're right in front of the railroad. And then I had the different carts appear like they're made from the students. And then if you zoom into the glue, it's not Elmer's glue, it's roller coaster glue. So that's kind of like the crafty page. Oh, so the theme also is all the pages that are bursting from this book just show the different events and things that they hold here at the library. So yeah, just integrating the space. Here is cooking and baking. I saw that there's a good amount of cooking classes held here. So I went with cupcakes just because I'm sure people bring in cupcakes for different occasions, and everyone loves a good cupcake. And then here, planning workshop, I saw that was another thing that you guys do here. So it just showcases the different tools and techniques. And also this one's more like adult friendly as well. And then here's music. I saw that there are some musicians that come in here and bring in some people and really tie into the community through music, which I thought was really nice. And it also the staff also bounces off of the railroad guardrails, so it kind of evens out the design there. And then just, I guess, some modifications because if I'm selected, then there are some modifications. As an artist, I'm never done. I always want to do something better. So with the few weeks that I had between submitting this and showing up here today, I had some, I guess, just some recommendations to improving the design. So just changing the color of the bottom section so it pops out a little bit more. Moving the quote more than just a good read to the left where it says the library on the very left of the mural, just so you can read it more and get a better idea of the theme of the mural. And Myrtle the turtle, which I know is a popular guy here in the library. I was thinking of making him a bookmark. So just different things like that, and also incorporating new ideas from the panel for the mural. And then another thing too, which I like to host events around the mural because it's a very exciting thing for the community. A paint by number mural. So when I start painting the mural, I like to host this event where I outline my design and number the different sections on the wall and bring out the community and help them fill in the mural and actually be a part of the process. I think it is a very memorable way to like honor the mural and just be a part of it. So that's always fun. And then an unveiling so that whoever helped paint the mural along the way can come and see their work after it's all complete, and it can be a really community-oriented thing. So yeah, so those are the different events that I like to throw, and I think that's it with my proposal. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so we'll have, next would be Clyde. And Clyde, are you on? Okay, whenever you're ready, Clyde. I am ready.
Okay, I just had to make sure that I wasn't muted.
No, you're good. I can hear you.
Okay. So I'm Clyde. I've been doing murals in the Valley for 12 years now, from Tempe. So most of my work is in Phoenix. I've been looking to expand into the smaller outskirt towns that I haven't really spent much time in or done much work in, but spend much time in. So that's kind of how I came across this call. So my approach to murals is first like designing it at architectural scale. I like to have the oversized elements. I think it's really fun for people and especially kids to walk up on a bird that's larger than life or a flower that's larger than life. And then it also reads really well from a distance. So that's usually my first priority. And then the next approach is I usually like to find a narrative to create. So a lot of my murals have like a fine art approach to where there's a story to be told without it being very direct. So I think it just lends itself for a little bit more viewing time and I guess creative thoughts when looking at art. So with this project, moving on to the mural intent, we could stay at the first slide, sorry. I wanted to use birds to tell the narrative of like a shared experience and community. And I found these yellow-bellied sparrows that exist in the alpines of the White Mountains and Mount Graham. And I just thought they were really aesthetically nice to work with movement into the mural. And the details of the feather, I think, would lend itself to a really cool painting. And then the dynamic of the region with the Sonoran Desert meeting the Alpine Mountains, I really wanted to emphasize that with the large desert blooms, with the Mount Graham lurking in the background. So we can move on to the next slide. I just wanted to start off with the just original composition I created to explain it. Thought it might simplify things. So the central focus is a pair of birds, um, like passing on um, or sharing this experience. And I got the image of the birds from this photo of two sparrows passing on a branch. And I took the branch away and left the space there and then inserted the sun. So it has this dynamic of it looking like the birds are passing the sun back and forth to each other while also working as a sun for the landscape in the background. So I kind of thought that dynamic of foreground and background lends itself to this idea of creativity when viewing the mural and like could inspire some imagination. Um, and then the sun also works as a metaphor for growth and discovery. So the rest of the composition was filled with these desert blooms, with the Mount Graham in the background. And we can move on to the next slide. I can show the more color rendition of this. It's not exact, but gives you an idea of the scale and color. I didn't explain that there's also the bird on the right kind of viewing these two birds passing something along to each other, maybe being inspired by the shared experience. And if you go on to the next slide, I included 3 different color schemes. The first is more of a natural color scheme. It's still nuanced with the greens, but it's the natural out of the 3. Then the second color scheme is more warm. I think it has more nuanced colors. It lends itself to more of like a painterly feel, or yeah, just a different atmosphere when looking at the mural. And then the third one is mostly violence with highlights of orange coming from the sun, which I use a lot in my paintings. All 3, I think, lend itself to having a like a moody painting, which I generally like to do. I think it brings you into another space outside of the, I guess the real representation of the world, which I think would be great for the library's viewers. So if we go to the next slide. Okay, I couldn't remember what was next, but this was just an alternative composition of the same idea. It's instead of the birds passing something along, I had the sparrows flying through the composition. It has less of a storyline or less of a narrative to define, but there is more movement if that was the direction that the city preferred. And I think that was it for the mock-ups I have. Oh,
Yeah, you're
and then the
correct.
next slides. Yeah, you can go to the next slides. Next slides are just examples of previous work. I know I submitted a lot of work to get here, but just an idea of color schemes and kind of the mood I like to create. And yeah, that's it for my presentation.
All right, thank you, Clyde.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey, Molly, are you on?
I am. Is it possible to share my screen or no?
Yes, you can.
And you can still make it big.
Yes.
Awesome. Dun, dun, dun. How's everybody doing?
Wonderful.
To meet you. Hi, Safford City, Graham County Library. How's it going? I love city council meetings. My name is Molly Keene. Hi, everybody. I am a muralist for about 15 years. I've created works in 34 countries all over the world. My mom passed away when I was 18, and Keene is her maiden name. I paint in her memory. And basically all of my murals, I want to just inspire joy without being like too literal, but just kind of this very free, joyful movement. I am based up near the south rim of the Grand Canyon on 10 acres off grid with my cat Squish. You can see him there. He's awesome. He goes to every mural with me. This is just some of my background. I wanted to just show you what I've been up to. I do a lot of team building murals. I have a company called Team Building Murals, and I've worked with cities and corporations and developers and small businesses to create murals. This is some of my past work, just so you can see scale and some of the elements that I'll tie into the proposal that I'm submitting. This is in Camas. It took about 7 to 10 days. Here you have one in Alpena, Michigan. This guy is on the bridge, and it is very historical without being like too literal. It's very playful. This is my tallest mural in Indonesia. I got stuck there for COVID for about a year and a half. I had to makeshift that scaffolding, but yeah, the scale was fun and windy. If you've been to Joshua Tree National Park, this one's there. Again, I love the whimsical, adding in local native flora, fauna. You can get the playful feel here. This is with aerosol in Seattle. This is over in Charles City, Iowa. Kind of like a comprehensive snapshot of the entire city. More aerosol painting, bold and bright. Here's one over in Flagstaff. This I did with the local tribes, and we developed it together. And again, like I really like movement and how things are not stagnant. I like to not have your eye fixed on one thing. It's constantly moving. And here's a team building mural in Oakland. You can just kind of see what that's like. And then this was my most recent one, and I wanted to show because I showed up in Dallas about like a month ago, and when I got to the wall, I chipped the paint and the whole underlayer was chipping before I started painting. So it took me 7 days to take it to concrete with a bunch of paint stripper. And so adhesion's really important to me. With almost 20 years of experience, I've seen how murals fade, and that's probably my most strongest suit. And really, really important to me. And I also applied an anti-graffiti layer after. So this is my company, Team Building Murals. I started it because after a while of painting by myself, I was like, I want to get the communities involved. And so I proposed like 2 to 4 hours. We could do 2 sessions where maybe we get patrons of the library or the city council, whoever wants to come paint for 2 to 4 hours. And it's a coloring book with dots, and you pick a color and find the color. So yeah, it's a great bonding experience and gives a sense of ownership. So I have 2 mural concepts for you, and I just wanted to show you a little bit of what you'll be looking at. I kind of deep dove into Safford. I lived in a van and bus for a couple years, and Safford was one of my main places I stayed. I did a lot of search and rescue work on the border. And so I often frequented the Hot Wells hot spring and the Essence of Tranquility too. But yeah, you'll be able to see these things. My designs, there's a lot of hidden Easter eggs, if you will. So I wanted to just show you what's in there before I reveal. Da, 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 da. So this is the first one. It's called Volumes of the Valley. And it is basically my first rendition that I had before I saw that the train tracks existed. But it's free flowing. It's emphasis on books and library. And then obviously like the geographical features of the area. You've got quail hanging out down below. You've got the woodpecker and all the little animals hanging out. And one thing about my process and me is that I love, love, love adapting. So like when I work with building owners, I usually sit down with them and they tell me exactly what they want and what they want to see. So this was a little bit difficult for me because I was like, what do they want? So, there's all these possibilities of like putting things on the pages. Can you add this? Can you take away this? Like, I love that part of the mural making process, connecting with clients. So yeah, this one is Volumes of the Valley. And then I have to tell you, Tracks and Tales might be one of my most favorite mural proposals I've done. I got a little bit carried away. The train tracks really inspired me. Yeah, first of all, it's just like a playful entrance into the library. You've got this history of like the Northern Railway, the Arizona Eastern Railway that became the Southern Pacific Railway. that basically linked Safford to the outside world. And like it just was a meeting place. It brought in so much more infrastructure and just possibilities for Safford. So I like that aspect of bringing in the past. And then it's like, you know, the books are a ride to something new as well. And so if we look in deeper, I'm gonna zoom in here. This is a really great place to be able to even beforehand have a conversation with people who live in Safford. I love, 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 and it might sound overwhelming to some of you, but I love listening to people's like feedback and putting in things like every book could have a subject or something that's specific to Safford. My hope is that the mural and the audience that views it will immediately say like this belongs in Safford. You have the Saffordite stones, little frog. You have the tortillas to represent the Latino community, hecho a mano. There's a lot of that throughout the train. You've got some, we could add like pottery or some, there's so many ways that you could add to this. And speaking of going to those hot springs, I found cats at all of them. So, you know, we could add a dog too, but I'm just, I really love cats. Here I found like you can put in like you guys have the Reading Arizona, the digital library. So there's little fun nodes that you could put in there for the library and beyond. Another one is the Seed Library, I think is amazing. We have that in Williams as well. So there's a lot of room to be able to play with this concept. You have mesquite honey, and then you also have the Mount Graham International Observatory in the picture frame. One of my styles is like, I really love filling up the entire area. And although it might seem overwhelming for some to create, it's like how my brain works. There's the library card, you see it. And then the local plants. You guys able to see this okay?
Yes, you're good.
Okay, awesome. And then yeah, just little ideas, and Sulphur Springs was based in Safford, so I threw that in there too. So there's a lot of room to be able to make this mural more yeah, adaptable and playful. So after each mural, I do a maintenance and safety plan. I am lift certified and I do carry insurance. But again, like when I get to the wall, I inspect cracks and damages. I make sure to repair that before. And then I usually use exterior satin Sherwin-Williams paints and then Nova colors. They last a long time. You can do anti-graffiti coat. It can yellow it a little bit, but it can last a little bit longer, usually more maintenance on it if it does get tagged or something like that. And then upon completion, I'll give you like all the color codes to what I painted with. And then like a little documentation of like a time lapse and some footage that you'll have and can use. And then like the expected lifespan is at least 15 years. I don't know if you guys saw that. The FIFA whale mural. It was like a 30-year-old mural, and it was still, you could see like it's fading, but you can expect 15 years of like long-term, same colors. And then here, just a little bit about the budget. Can you believe as a sole proprietor, they tax me a quarter? But anyways, I just show you kind of like what's involved. I can even put lighting on there. I've done a lot of solar or 110 lighting that I really feel helps the mural just have its life in the community, especially at nighttime. For me personally, August would be an awesome start date. I create a press release like right before I get there to make the community aware of what's going on, and we can do that in collaboration. I arrive a couple days early before I start painting to prep it, and that's probably the most important part. And then it takes about 7 days to paint that mural, and we could throw team building in there if you like, and then a community reveal if you want. And then there's a little map of all my little murals all over the world. But yeah, I'd love to paint one for y'all. If you have any questions, I'm all yours, but
No question.
that's it.
Thank you, Molly.
Very good
All right, thank
presentation.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor and council, at this time, is there a preferred artist that you would like us to continue to work with?
I liked her energy.
Is there,
We can't go wrong. All three were fantastic.
correct?
And the presentations were great. I could support all three. Before the presentations, my favorite was the last
Okay.
mural, with the train. And again, that was before hearing from anybody, just
Correct.
just the visual. And all the presentations were great, so I would lean back to that one. But that's just me. But I love all three. I really do.
We were hoping to make it a difficult decision. So they were all, it was a difficult pool to go through, I will say. It was a lot of applicants and quality applicants. So are there any other feedback from the council?
I was liking the versatility on the first one.
Okay.
Because the book showed, the open book showed there that it actually had the name of the library on it.
Correct.
So that people could see what the building is.
Mm-hmm.
The other part where more than just a good read could have our slogan on there.
Correct.
A good place to live. And I know that it's flowing and we can make the changes
Correct.
to it. And that take place because I also, on the trains themselves, I like the available space for historic
Right.
things that can be placed on
Right.
there. And that this is our 250th year.
Correct.
I saw a little bit more versatility in the first one.
Okay.
To add.
Yes. And all of these proposals are still, if there's a chosen artist, then we would still work with them too. And we would still bring a final concept to you before it would actually commence the mural. So all of these are proposals, and I think they've all stated they're more than happy to work with us and make it a little bit more Safford specific.
Yes, on the first one, I didn't hear as much prep or preservation afterwards, but I'm sure that's
They do,
got heard.
yes. Yes. All three of them do.
I like the versatility of the first one.
Okay. Any other feedback?
I really like the train. I think it's pretty neat how they have the Easter eggs, and I think that'd be great for the kids. That'd be
Yes.
something fun for them.
And they can still add to it. Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
And again, on the first one, I think you can read stuff faster as you drive by. 'Cause you're not
True.
standing there. So, when it catches your eye, you pick something up each time you drive by.
Right. Right. Any other feedback? Any preferences?
I like the last one.
Okay.
And again, the energy, her energy is definitely helps even.
Is there any other feedback? If not, I can go with that direction. Do we need a action B?
It is this action item, so unless they do not want to select someone tonight, then you have a time frame or a timeline to meet?
Nope. October 1st is when it's to be completed. That is our timeline.
So that's always an option as well if you want more time to think about it or just give direction to Victoria.
What's the feel of everybody?
I'd like to talk with them more about it. 'Cause I thought I had some pretty good ideas.
Then we'll just,
Table it.
Is there a date you want me to bring it back?
whatever's convenient for you.
Okay. Would you like the artist to present again, or would you at that point, do you just want feedback? Or do you just want to provide feedback at that point?
Feedback.
Just feedback? Okay.
Feedback and maybe any changes that they have conceived between now and then on what they've heard.
Okay. There's not a specific date?
Next meeting.
Next meeting, fine.
I don't
Next
know
enough
what's on
time?
the calendar.
Next council meeting would be July
July
13th. If not, we have the second one in July, which would be July 27th. So if you'd like to give like about a month, I would go with July 27th, just to give the artists some time. If not, you're looking at about 2-3 weeks. Or
Correct.
2 weeks, we'd
By
be back.
27th?
I believe she just wants to complete it, right? By
October 1st.
October 1st. Do
Yes.
they need to start in August?
Not necessarily. We purposely gave a big window because we were anticipating they might have someone else in the queue before us, so they weren't rushing. And to give time for that more community feedback. If there's an artist you prefer, then we have a little bit more time to work with them before they start the actual project.
Is there a way that maybe you could put this on the website and do like a vote so that people on Facebook could vote too? Let's get more community input
We
that
could
way?
possibly put it on our Facebook page if that's something the city manager is fine with doing.
I'm open to anything. Thank you.
We can certainly do that. We've done it in the past and we've gotten a lot of good community feedback. We can certainly do that. And it gives us a little bit of time to get that feedback from the community as well.
We'll be looking at the second meeting.
July 27th.
If that's the direction we'd like to take, Mayor, we would be looking at July 27th, and we can work together to get that posted on our
Mhm.
Facebook page for voting
Yes.
on as early as tomorrow.
Yes, we can do that.
But if it is the desire to table, I do need a motion and second and vote, please.
We'll need a motion to,
So moved.
Second.
all in favor? Opposed?
Thank you.
Okay, then we'll move on to item number 2. Everybody have a chance to review the minutes for June 1st and 8th council meetings? Any changes or? An action item?
Mayor, I move that we approve the minutes for June 1st and June 8th, 2026.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the June 1st and 8th council meeting minutes. All in favor? Opposed? Then we'll move on to item number 3. Letter of support for Mount Graham Regional Medical Center Certificate of Necessity. Eric?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Mayor, did you want to hear the comment from those that asked to speak first or after?
They wanted to speak first?
Yes. Thank you, Eric. So at first, Mayor, we have Jacob Dalston. Go ahead and go to the podium. Just list your first and last name and who you're with.
Good evening, Mayor Ortega and council members. My name is Jacob Dahlstra. I'm the Regional Director for Lifeline Ambulance here in Safford. So a little bit about me before I get started. I'm a paramedic. I've been a paramedic for 25 years. Most of that time has been spent here in Arizona serving as a flight paramedic. I've taken many patients out of the hospital here locally, so I have quite a bit of experience working in the area. So Lifeline Ambulance, I know I've talked to the council in the past, but Lifeline Ambulance is the local ambulance service here in Safford and services all of Graham County. We're part of GMR, Global Medical Response, which is the largest ambulance provider in the country. We cover about 75% of the population in the state of Arizona. We've been serving Safford for the last 40 years. We provide both 911 and interfacility transports. We have 23 employees who live here locally, who all live in this community and support this community. Probably some of the most passionate people I've ever met. We also have a local supervisor that's in this community. But what we're able to do because of our connections with Global Medical Response is we're able to support this community with ambulances from outside of the county when there's a large influx of calls. And so we bring ambulances from Cochise County, Pima County, Maricopa County to help transport patients out, specifically out of the hospital when there's interfacility requests. So we're committed to providing a quality service. And for an example, in the last 2 years, we've updated our fleet of ambulances, spent more than $250,000 on new ambulances this year alone. We've updated our radio system, and we continue to look for innovative ways to improve our service. Mount Graham Regional Medical Center is currently our base hospital, which means they provide all of our oversight on our medications, on our training, on our personnel. They select the people that are on our ambulance who are not on our ambulance. And so Mount Graham Regional Medical Center has put in for a certificate of necessity the concern that we have with that is that if you look across the country, lots of hospitals have tried to put in to start an ambulance service. And what you typically see is that these ambulance services are focused on their core business, which is moving patients outside of out of their hospital to another hospital. And so that decreases the response time for 911 coverage. The other thing that I wanted to point out to the council is the fact that Mount Graham has direct involvement with our operations. We're very taken aback that they want to start their own ambulance service. We've met with the leadership at Mount Graham Regional Medical Center, and they have made it clear that they want us to just go away. And so our concern with that is that the resources and the expertise will be leaving this community if we are just to go away. The other piece, I only have 12 seconds left, but the other piece that I want to point out is that we're compliant with our CON requirements for response time set by the Arizona Department of Health. Not only are we compliant, but we've far succeeded. And an example of that is that we exceeded more than 15% in the category of different response times. And so I just want to end with saying that I hope the council considers, before they get rid of a provider that's been doing this work for over 40 years and does a really good job, that they consider what this might mean for the community and stay neutral. Let us work with the hospital to provide a better ambulance service. We're committed to that. We're open to that. And it's really the hospital that has not allowed us to have that opportunity. So I'm over time. I'm sorry for that, but I do appreciate the council's consideration on this.
Thank you. Next, we have Danny Smith.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Danny Smith. I live at 350 Cochise Street here in Safford. I serve as the Chief Marketing and Community Relations Officer at Mount Graham Regional Medical Center. Thank you so much for your expressed interest and support. The last time I came here, the agenda item or the item was not on the agenda for approval. Thank you for having me back. AMR's recent interest is appreciated. We go to meetings around the valley seemingly several times a month now. We need better service, and we need better ambulance service. The most recent ambulance service we've been getting is poor. We feel like we must take action. We feel like it's a responsibility. We feel like it's a duty, an obligation that we must act, not something that we sought. We have a lot of projects underway right now that we are working on. I hope you talk to your fire department, your police department, on how things are going with ambulance service. When I say we, it's not just me. It's just like 53 years ago when citizens of Safford and our people like Dwayne Spalsbury, the chamber executive director, the city attorney, met downtown, just down the block, and formed a hospital. At the time, there was a for-profit hospital at the time it was not going good, and our community came together, taxed themselves, started a hospital district, and took matters into their own hands to try to solve a problem. It was very brave, and 53 years later, it has worked out really well. 3 years ago, AMR sought to increase their response times and was successful in doing that despite letters and calls from the Board of Supervisors, from mayors in the Gila Valley. They lengthened their response times. In our application, we propose to reduce the response times. We will have local dispatching and employees from our area versus Tucson dispatching and quite a few employees from outside of our area. We intend to increase our ability in 911 ambulance and crew availability. We intend to increase ambulance crew capability with increased ALS ambulance staffing. And we think that we'll have better cooperation with other CON holders, government entities, and large employers. Our community, through our board members, came to us seeking a solution for inadequate service. Our application will demonstrate the need for service the current CON holder has been unable or unwilling to provide in the past. And with that, I mean, we expect we'll receive dozens of letters from nearly each government entity and elected official representing Graham County showing that great need for improved service. We went to Safford and to Pima, and they both were willing to support us and send us a letter of support. It's a long application we've been working on for 9 months, but a letter of support is a portion of that, and we would really appreciate your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Benny. Anybody else?
There's no additional comments, Mayor, so I'll turn it back over to Eric.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. To get to the CCF, so this is a request for Mayor and Council to consider approval of a letter of support for Mount Graham Regional Medical Center in its pursuit of a certificate of necessity for ambulance services within Graham County. On May 11, 2026, the Mayor and Council conducted a work session whereby information was presented by both Mount Graham Regional Medical Center and American Medical Response, or AMR, regarding ambulance service delivery within Graham County. The purpose of the work session was to provide Council with information regarding the current service model, proposed service enhancements, and the certificate of necessity process. Mount Graham Regional Medical Center is pursuing a certificate of necessity for ambulance service within Graham County and has requested a letter of support from the City of Safford as part of its application through the Arizona Department of Health Services. The issuance of a certificate of necessity is ultimately determined by the Arizona Department of Health Services following review of the application and supporting materials. The city consideration is limited to whether it wishes to provide a letter of support for Mount Graham Regional Medical Center's application. Mayor and Council, the staff recommends, or in this case, I as your city manager recommend the approval of a letter of support for Mount Graham Regional Medical Center to seek the certificate of necessity for Graham County. And I'll pause there and I'll just comment for briefly, Mayor, if you'll allow me. So just a reminder, so I worked in, obviously, law enforcement, retired from that in 2014 in Tucson, then went on to an 8-year career in air medical services. You might think air medical is not tied to ground services, but it is. There's a very strong connection. So I do have what I would call good experience and expertise in that arena. During that 8-year tour, I served on the Graham and Greenlee EMS Council for that entire time. I served as the chair for that council. I've also served for the better part of medical chair for Southeastern Arizona and very involved in that process. I would not say that I'd supported it if I did not see there be a need. I just like to remind the council that we're not making a decision tonight on if that CON is going to be approved for Mount Graham Regional Medical Center. Again, that's for DHS. This is just a request for a letter of support. As Danny mentioned, the town of Pima and town of Thatcher have already completed a letter and submitted it. I don't say that to tie your hands. I just say that to share information publicly. And that said, I'll stand for any questions.
I'm not going for or against here. I just want to say something that since this came up, I've been listening to their dispatch and I've been listening to our dispatch, and a lot of the problem, regardless of whether they improve their service or the hospital does a better service, there are times when there's not enough ambulances here. It's got to bump up, and they're dispatched out of Tucson by people who can't even say the word names and don't know what they're talking about. They can't give you directions. They can't tell you if it's right or left. I think both of those things need fixed regardless of who goes forward with the CON. I'm not opposed to us letting the hospital try, but that one thing by itself is not going to fix the problem.
Mayor and Council, I don't disagree. Dispatch is an important component, not only of EMS, but also law enforcement.
It's an action item.
Mayor, I move that we approve a letter of support from Mount Graham Regional Medical Center for a certificate of necessity.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve a letter of support for Mount Graham Regional Medical Center for a certificate of necessity. All in favor? Opposed?
Mayor Ortega, just for my records, I didn't catch who second that. Okay, thank you. It was really low. I didn't catch you. Thank you.
And we'll move on to item number 4. Accreditation manager, differential. Eric?
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to defer the time to Chief Avila.
Chief. Thank you, Eric. Good evening, Mayor and Council. This is a request for, excuse me, the Safford Police Department seeks approval from the Mayor and Council to establish a 5% duty differential for the department's accreditation manager. Staff recommends approval of this differential to recognize the specialized knowledge, substantial workload, and ongoing responsibilities required to manage and maintain the department's accreditation. Strategic goals are quality of life, public safety. Just to change up a little bit here, so in the CCF, it says it's unofficial. So we've actually received our official notification that we will be recommended for accreditation through ALEAP, which is the Arizona Law Enforcement Accreditation Program. This is pretty significant for the department, and it reflects on the city as a whole as well for professionalism, accountability, transparency, and improvement in law enforcement services. Not to stay on that point, but this is a pretty big accomplishment for us. And I'll go into the CCF a little more, where this taken 2 years, this process. Our current department accreditation manager is Sergeant Menchow. And over the past 2 years, he's done significant work through this process. And this goes beyond his normal duties. He's still a patrol sergeant, but he's taken on all these additional responsibilities. Right now, he's doing the initial, what we call our initial assessment, and it incorporates a whole lot of stuff, for lack of a better word, a whole lot of stuff, from extensive policy reviews, compliance throughout the department, gathered, organized documents, proofs for 174 accreditation standards in order just to achieve accreditation status. It's a highly specialized skill. Not everybody can do it. You have to have extensive knowledge of law enforcement best practices, policy development, which is a huge part of that. And if anybody's done policy development, it's not the easiest thing in the world. Records management, organizational assessment, and regulatory compliance. He serves as the primary liaison between us and ALEAP, which is the program that we go through. And that's in order just to keep us in compliance with everything. The need for this differential goes beyond that, because upon receiving accredited status, it doesn't end there. Annually, that he'll have to review 430 proofs, which means that a proof is something that basically you go up there and you say, this is our standard, this is how we prove it. You got to provide the policy and a proof, which could be a report, a picture. And there's 174 standards, but there's 430 proofs that have to be provided annually. So what happens now is we've done our initial process, and so we go into a 4-year accredited status. Over the next 4 years, those 430 proofs will have to be done annually. Again, like I said, this is a huge achievement for us, not only as a department, but the city as a whole. Provides long-term benefits to us, to the city, through enhanced accountability, risk reduction, operational efficiency, professional service delivery. Considering significant and ongoing workload associated with accreditation management, I, along with my staff, believe that a differential is warranted. This will go, and I've spoken a lot about Sergeant Menchow and what he's accomplished, but the recommendation on this is that they approve the differential, 5% differential for any employee assigned as the accreditation manager. Differential shall have some contingencies upon it. One is that we maintain accredited status throughout the entire process. So over the next 4 years and ongoing, that's a goal that we keep this going beyond the 4 years. As well as not only through ALEAP, but as well as our internal processes that we have. So I will stand for any questions.
Chief, congratulations first for receiving accreditation. That's fantastic.
Thank you.
I'll just say real quickly, your description is almost identical to the accreditation that schools have to undertake. Same 4-year span, but with the yearly checks, reports. Twice I was asked to chair the accreditation committee for schools I was at. And it's monumental, the amount of work
It is.
that person has to do. So I'm definitely in support of the differential.
So, Chief, you're asking to add this title to the differential policy?
Yes, sir. For one person only.
One, because that falls under kind of like phlebotomy or that category where you get extra monies for different things that are taken over, like speaking Spanish at a tier that's court acceptable, the phlebotomy, things like that. Doesn't this fall into that policy?
Yes, sir. The difference being is that this is for the accreditation manager only, and we will only have.
Yes, yeah, well, and then under that policy also, you're only allowed to claim 2.
Correct.
So this is the same policy that you just want to add this to.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Anything else?
Mayor, just a comment for the council. So clarification, I want to echo congratulations, Chief. Great job to you and the whole team. And why this didn't come to the council before as part of the budget process to consider this, it just came to our attention. So the mayor and I met with part of the accreditation or assessment team just about 2 weeks ago at the police department. I believe it was an assistant chief from Tempe and also a chief, the chief from San Luis. And at that point, they didn't know yet if Safford Police Department would receive the approval for the accreditation. Towards the end of that day, that was revealed to chief, and in July, if I'm not mistaken, the chief and several of us plan to travel to Flagstaff where they will receive the official word. But the reason we didn't bring this prior to tonight is because we didn't know. We didn't know the timeline, the process. I think Chief has clearly defined the amount of work that goes into this. It's astronomical. Being someone that's come from a department that attained a certain accreditation, I know the amount of work that goes into it. And when the mayor and I met with the assessment team, basically they told us in July when you receive the official word, it starts over. So this is a continuing process. So again, congratulations, Chief. I believe you and your department have set the standard for law enforcement in the Gila Valley. Thank you, Mayor.
And Mr. Bejarano, do you think you could furnish us eventually with how many titles are on this policy? Different titles?
We might be able to do that tonight. I don't know if we know that.
I don't want to take up that
Or we
time. You
can
probably have to
follow
pay.
up with you, Vice Mayor, and let you know.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
And if not, it's an action item.
Mayor, I move that we approve an accreditation manager differential and establish a 5% duty differential for the police department's accreditation manager.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the accreditation manager differential. All in favor? Opposed?
Thank you.
And we'll move on to item number 13. Ordinances. Number 1, ordinance 026-003, the Commerce rezone. Jamie?
Yes, good evening again, Mayor and Council. Staff is requesting a first reading of ordinance 026-003, an ordinance of the City of Safford, Graham County, Arizona, rezoning portions of Graham County Assessor's parcels numbers 103-09042 and 103-09041 from the C2 Highway Commercial District to the R16 Single Family Residential District. The parcels are not addressed currently and are accessed off Highway 191. Strategic goals are growth and development and pursuing infill opportunities. Background, the applicant has held the required neighborhood meeting, and both the Planning and Zoning Commission and City Council have held public hearings on this matter. The Planning and Zoning Commission has recommended approval. analysis. Residential development on these parcels will help with the housing shortage and promote infill development. The rezone will allow the residents access to trails and amenities as recommended in the 2016 City of Safford General Plan. Ordinance 26-003 is attached in your packet, and I will stand for questions.
And so this is the first reading. We still require a second reading, and a second reading will be the approval, if that's the way we're going.
Yes, Mayor and Vice Mayor, and then it is effective 30 days after the date of approval. So this ordinance, I'll share it on the screen, would be effective 1 month after the second read. So this one would be effective August 14th, 2026, after it's been posted.
Anybody else? Comments?
Mayor, I move that we approve the first read of ordinance 026-003.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the first reading of ordinance 026-003. All in favor?
Mayor, this approves the first reading of ordinance number 026-003, Commerce Rezone, an ordinance of the mayor and city council of the city of Safford, Graham County, Arizona, effectuating a map amendment rezoning portions of Graham County Assessor's Parcel number 103-09-041 and 103-09-042 from the city of Safford C2 Highway Commercial District to R1-66 Single Family Residential District.
Okay, then we'll move on to 14, Resolution R 26-016, adopting the 2026-2036 General Plan for the City of Safford.
Yes, good evening again, Mayor and Council. Thank you so much for your participation in this month-long process. It's been starting in October, and it's finally getting approved now, and I appreciate all your input and outreach to citizens. This is a request for Mayor and Council to discuss and approve, modify, or deny Resolution 26-016, adopting the 2026 to 2036 General Plan for the City of Safford. Strategic goals are quality of life, public information, and outreach. And once again, we will start advertising in August for educational purposes for the public so that they know what they're voting on the ballot. And I will be available to make my rounds to any clubs, groups, or meetings that you would like me to attend, or that people call me and ask me to attend so that I can explain the general plan to them. And I'll probably schedule some more office hours again so that we can really get the word out and explain what the general plan is, how it affects the city of Safford, and why it is on the ballot. Staff requests that the mayor and council approve Resolution 26-016, adopting the Safford 2026-2036 general plan. And I would also like to thank the Planning Center for all of the legwork that they did on this project. I will stand for questions.
When do you think we'll know how it's going to be numbered on the ballot? Titled.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, that'd be a question that we'll reach out to Hannah Duderstadt over at the Graham County elections. And we'll find out. That'll be on the general election ballot for November. But we'll find out what number it is and give that information out. There'll be more information coming out to promote it, make sure we get enough voters voting on it so we don't have to bring it back next year.
Yeah, because we got to start advertising.
Anybody else? Any more? Not an action item.
Mayor, I move that we approve Resolution R 26-016, adopting the 2026-2036 General Plan.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt Resolution R 26-016. That's adopting the 2026-2036 General Plan for the City of Safford. All in favor? Opposed? Done.
Mayor, this approves resolution number R 26-016, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Safford, Graham County, Arizona, adopting the general plan update 2026 through 2036.
Thank you.
And we'll move on to Resolution R26-020, designating bank representatives and signers for the city of Sanford. Troy?
Mayor and council, this is a housekeeping item that it comes up every once in a while whenever we need to renew who's the signers on the bank accounts. We have typically 8 to 10 different bank accounts at any given time. One of our banks is giving us a hard time that our resolution is 2.5 years old. So they want to see a new resolution, so we're bringing it tonight to do that for you. Who we're taking off John Casella, Matt Hoschel, Clark Bingham, Tony Goodman, and Chris Murphy from the various accounts. We are keeping Mayor Ortega. Eric Bayrano is being added as the city manager. I'm staying as the finance director. Patrice Driver is still the city clerk / treasurer. And then I'm adding 2 of my staff members that have always had access. Lisa Suter and Jennifer Suber are the payroll and accounting specialists that actually do the accounts payable and the payroll. So they actually approve ACH withdrawals from the account. So just to clarify all that, and on the firefighter account, Patrick is taking the fire chief position from Clark Bingham, and we're making Merrick Kavanaugh as the backup since he's on the firefighter pension as the secretary. So just a housekeeping item. I stand for any questions or any concerns you have.
You're saying that the 2 your accountant people were on there before?
They were not, but they've always had access to be able to do things. So we're just clarifying it now that they are officially able to do ACHs.
Well, I myself would prefer that, like when the manager goes out of town and he leaves somebody else in charge when he goes, that they be the ones on the signature account.
I wouldn't be able to change the bank account that quickly. You've got to kind of set it up in advance, but it always requires 2 people. So Lisa can't do anything by herself and Jennifer can't do anything by themselves. It always requires a secondary approval.
Yeah, well, then
But I can't do it ad hoc. I can't, as I leave and get a bank to transfer. This takes a lot of time and effort to get these banks to switch over. This process takes, I think we've been going through it for the last month and a half. So it takes quite some time to switch these banks over.
I know he leaves it in the hands of like Mr. Hendry at times and the chief at times, and I just thought that'd be the logical people to place on there. That's my comment.
Understandable.
What are their liability? If they're a signer and let's say they sign off on a check or they do a wire and it's fraud, who's held responsible for that?
It's always the city's responsibility, no matter what an employee does.
So if the employee signs off and it's fraud, there's nothing on them? If one of these people sign off, like, let's say someone came to mayor and asked him to sign off on something, he doesn't do it all the time, he signs off and it's fraud, is he held liable?
No one is held personally liable for any business of the city.
So they could just sign.
Yeah, so, I mean, they could follow disciplinary action for the employee for taking the wrong action, but there is nothing liable. They wouldn't have to pay back any of the money. That would be a loss to the city.
But there's
And there's
disciplinary.
insurance.
And there's insurance, wherever that
Yeah.
ghost is in the room.
But there's disciplinary that we would hold them to.
So you could hold them to disciplinary standards. They didn't follow protocol or procedures. They ended up in a loss to the city.
Comment?
What did Bill say?
Bill just was the one that mentioned
I
insurance.
said
Insurance would
the
cover
risk
us.
pool the risk pool provides insurance.
'Cause we
Now,
do have-
If indeed the employee committed fraud, then there'd have to be prosecution against the employee. And the risk pool might subrogate against the employee, but generally you have insurance.
Thank you. I could just tell he talked, but I didn't know what he said.
That was the ghost.
Sorry, can you hear me?
You're kind of in the back of the room, so when you talk, you got to talk loud, Bill.
There is insurance through the
We
risk
got you.
pool.
We got you. We can hear you now. Just wanted to let you know.
Okay.
Thanks, Bill.
Okay, well, this is an action item.
Mayor, I move that we approve Resolution R26-020, designating bank representatives.
Second.
Okay, we're motion and a second to approve resolution R26-020. All in favor? Opposed? And we'll,
Mayor, this approves Resolution R26-020 with a vote of 5 to 2, with Vice Mayor Lopez and Councilmember Bratner opposing. Resolution number R26-020 is a resolution of the Mayor and City Council of the City of Safford, Graham County, Arizona, designating depositories and persons authorized to sign related documents and agreeing to certain conditions with banking institutions.
Thank you. And we'll move on to item number 3, Resolution R26-023. That's designation of the Chief Financial Officer for fiscal year 2026.
Thank you, Mayor. This is another housekeeping item. The State Auditor General requires you to designate a Chief Financial Officer, even though that's not my title. It's the person that's ultimately responsible for signing off on the audit. They expect to see the signature when the audit is done. For 2026, it'll be done probably in March of 2027. So you're required to put this ahead of time. It's due by June 30th, so we always do it at this meeting, the same meeting in June every year. So this is just a repeat item. I'll stand for any questions.
We're using the word financial, but this says fiscal. Is there a difference?
No, no difference. It's just the title that they require at the state level.
Okay, it's an action item.
Mayor, I move that we approve Resolution R26-023, designating Troy Bingham as the Chief Fiscal Officer for fiscal year 2026.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve Resolution R26-023. All in favor? Opposed?
Mayor, this approves resolution number R26-023, a resolution of the City of Safford, Arizona, Mayor and Common Council designating the Chief Fiscal Officer for officially submitting the fiscal year 2027 expenditure limitation report to the Arizona Auditor General.
We'll move on to item 15. It's the budget. Number 1, amend the fiscal year 2027 tentative budget to include additional police grants. Right.
All right, so there's 7 of these items. I don't know, we'll take them bit by bit, but on June 8th, when we passed the tentative budget, we talked about the ideas of amending that tentative budget as we get towards the final. These are the 7 items we kind of talked about that night. I didn't get any other emails or questions directly from anybody, so these are the items that I'm aware of that I can give you information on. Our goal tonight, on some of these, staff is supporting. On some of them, we have a balanced budget already, so staff is neutral. We're just presenting facts that we know about each one of the subjects and letting you as a council decide. You'll have to make a motion, get a second, and then at that point, there'll be a vote. If the vote passes, it'll be excluded from the final budget, and the expectation is that that will be out of the final budget. So hopefully, we won't have to re-talk about the same things. So whatever is done tonight in an action item will be final for the final budget. If there's any other items, I guess we could do them on the night of the final budget, but I was hoping to get them all out tonight. So if something does come up, we can talk about some more, but these are the ones that we've got in front of us tonight. So the first one, I did them in order of easy to hard. So as we get down to number 7, they'll get harder. So this is an easy one. To explore with the mayor and council options to include $285,000 of flock camera system grants. So this is an easy situation. In the tentative budget, I have a contingency that I built into the budget that gets us up to the $132 million. We're about at $114 million. This is a great example of the police were able to get a grant. So after we got to the tentative budget, I think right as I published the tentative budget the week prior, we finally got this $285,000 grant, which pays for years 2 through 4 of the flock. We had the first year covered under a grant through the same agency. This one is going straight to border support by ourselves. And so this is an easy one that all we have to do is reduce the contingency, add to the police's grant budget, and that allows them to accept the $285,000 and to spend the $285,000. So this is more of a housekeeping item, and staff would support us amending. The budget doesn't change from $132 million, but the contingency would drop from $8.8 million by $265,000. So does that clear as mud that I made that we have these amounts in the budget? All we're doing is moving money around, allowing us to accept this grant so that we can actually spend this grant. So it's kind of an accounting item that somebody thought up. So this $840,000 was $265,000 less in the state published forms. I'm just changing that number. Again, a grant is paying for this. This doesn't cost the citizens of Safford anything. It is paid for by border support. Can I get a motion and
And who is border support?
that's a question I'm gonna have to ask Chief.
Mayor and Council, technically, it's not border supporter, it's Arizona Department of Emergency Management,
And where does that money come from?
the state,
The state?
the state, Arizona Department of Emergency Management.
State. Because you know, there are citizens that are expressing displeasure with the flock program. And they're continually asking about who gets to use them, how are they being used, and the exact policy that covers what they're being used for. So I don't know if that falls under an accreditation new person that can, because one of the duties is policy, maybe we can have a policy.
Uh, Mayor and Council, so we do have a policy that was presented at a prior meeting, as well as our flock transparency portal, which is posted on our website, that answers literally all these questions.
Which I guess I didn't know that. I know I've been told by you and the manager where I could look those things up, and that information comes from the people that are actually dealing with the flock cameras, so certainly their comments are gonna be favorable. But I know you're aware of the displeasure with the cameras.
Correct. And we don't supersede what flock allows. So the transparency portal is there as well as our policy. So,
Because, I
and,
mean, they,
and our policy goes into details exactly what it can be used for, who can use it, how it's tracked, the monthly reports that are done.
that's what I was wondering, who can use it? You know, who can use it? So I have to tell a citizen to go to the website to find out what your policy is.
Correct. And again, this was discussed in a prior meeting where we talked about our policy, the transparency portal, things like that. So, and anybody that has concerns, they can also reach out to us directly. We can have the discussions about
Yeah.
what flock is and what flock isn't.
Yeah, you've told me that too, Chief. You've said, come to your office and talk to you about it and all, and that, and I hadn't, just mainly because the information was from the flock people. So, them questions are still out there, you
Yeah.
know it.
And that invitation's extended to anybody who has concerns out there, your constituents, if they feel the need that there's something like we're, hiding something, come talk to us. We'll give them all the information they want.
It's the overwhelming number of cameras that we have within the city limits of Safford versus our neighbors. And I can't remember the exact number. I have to go back and look at it. What you stated they would be at the beginning kind of seems like 3 times that now.
And again, that was what they call a proof of concept. So that number has been reduced down to the original numbers.
Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, I actually called your chief because I was canvassing some of the risk pool members about the policies they have for flock. And almost all of them had no policy until your chief sent me your policy. Your policy is really very good. And I've been providing it to other governments so they could try to pattern it after your policy. I must give my compliments to your chief.
Thank you, Bill.
Well, then we need to get it into the hands of the people that don't have it, that are asking these questions.
Yeah, and again, a lot of times, a lot of the naysayers like to kind of the squeaky wheel situation until we say, hey, come in, we'll give you the policy, we'll give you the transparency portal, we'll tell you exactly what it is, we'll give you reports. The reports tell you who's run it and what they've run it for. When you put it back on a lot, I'm not saying everybody, of course, but when you put it back on people and tell them, hey, this information's here, come get it, we kind of crickets. So again, but we welcome anybody that wants to come in and we can talk about it, give them reports, give them policies, give them, again, the portal. So we're very open to that. We don't shy away from it.
Mayor, you had Councilman McGoy with his hand up first.
Chief, I don't want to get too far off subject, but I've been seeing a lot of damage to these things nationwide. Do we have any? And if so, who pays to fix them?
So we did have one damaged, and that was part of the proof of concept, which is going back. So Flock, had it been ours, Flock would have repaired it.
Just playing devil's advocate, since Flagstaff got rid of theirs, Sierra Vista just got rid of theirs. What happens if we receive this grant, we accept the grant, we spend the grant, and then citizens come forward in a big thing and we remove the cameras? Do we then, as a city, have to repay that grant? What happens at that point?
So when you say we, you mean the council votes to remove them?
Right.
Okay. So at that point, we'd have to talk to DEMA and see what the process is for returning the equipment and the funding for the cameras that we've received.
Okay.
I don't have a specific answer for you. What happens if? So if you like, I could explore that.
I was just checking, seeing as it's all over the news.
Yeah.
Anybody else? If not, it's an action item.
Mayor, I move that we amend the fiscal year 2027 tentative budget to include additional police grants.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, a second, to amend the 2027 tentative budget to include additional police grants. All in favor? Opposed?
All right, Mayor and Council, the next item. So this one just came up recently as we started to look through carryover for this year for certain projects and streets specifically. We noticed that the money, due to projects always lagging in the summer and ending up in the next fiscal year, the money that was for this fiscal year has already been spent back in early July, August. So there was no actual funding when we approved the item for 14th Avenue on May 11th at the council meeting. The funding had already been spent. So we did look at the budget right now. We looked at our available funding that we could fit this in. We have a $500,000 funding for next year, but that has a specific purpose that isn't for this specific project that we have. So we looked at the actual fund balance, which is not showing anymore. So the people at home, let me get that back up. All right, so this is the little spreadsheet you've seen as we went through the CIP. We have $6.5 million available for budget in streets, and the CIP currently has $5.1 million. That gives us about $1.4 million of capacity to add an additional project. So this is a kind of like the police one, but a little bit different in the fact that it doesn't bring its own cash. We'd be using fund balance. But we'd like to add to the CIP the idea of doing this project that we voted on in May with WW Clyde to actually move forward on this project for July. So we'd have two projects in fiscal year 2027, one in July and August, and then one in late spring, early summer next year in 2027. Same fiscal year, that would be the $500,000. We believe we have capacity in the fund balance to pay for this unrestricted fund balance. So with that in mind, I turn it over to council to answer any questions. I do have the Public Works Director to answer any specific street-related questions.
For the people at home, can you please explain? We might know, but for the people at home, can you explain how we spent money back when we didn't have it?
So we had budget because the budget was approved for the year. They just ended up using budget that was supposed to be for the previous year in this fiscal year, 2026. So when we awarded this in May, we technically didn't have it. They haven't moved forward on the project. The project is currently on hold. But yeah, that was a slip up by us not letting that item move in May because it actually had already been spent. So that is one of those things that we need to stop before it becomes a board item because the money was technically gone at that point. We could cancel the project right now. Again, the funding is not there and just not do 14th Avenue south or north of the train tracks all the way to US 70. Or we could add it, allows us to do that project. Instead of doing what we're planning in fiscal year 2027, which was, he's got a few here, it'd be 20th Avenue from Golf Course to 26th Street and 8th from 14th to 20th Avenue. All in that same area. We could do, there's a lot of different things here, but what I'm telling you is we can afford it. It's in the unrestricted fund balance. It's just putting more projects in the CIP than we originally anticipated. We thought this one was already funded. Turns out it wasn't, so.
How long is the planned closure of 14th Avenue south of the tracks? Because you're going to have school starting in a month. Isn't it going south of the tracks?
It's north, so it's where we finished.
I thought you were going to do all the way to Crimson Canyon.
Well, it's from Crimson Canyon all the way to the highway. Is where
Correct. That's what I'm saying. That little portion from Crimson to the tracks. That's going to be all the high school traffic trying to go to school.
We're waiting on the railroad permit. They would have started already if we would have had a railroad permit. As soon as we get that railroad permit, a mill and overlay typically 1 day a mill, and then they go in and pave. And so then they'll, they've got to raise and lower manholes and stuff. So they'll be working there and striping, but the actual mill and paving part is done in a week.
So if we approve this, when does it start?
What's that?
When does it start if we
As soon
approve
as
it
we
tonight?
get the permit from the railroad, they would have started already. And then when I got with Troy, we found out that the money had already got spent. That's the problem with these paving projects is they always go right through a fiscal year. And us as engineers and contractors, we don't worry about fiscal years, but finance gets after us when we
Just gonna have to
go carry over and don't carry over.
just have to figure out when the best time to do it, I guess. I mean, it'd be nice to do that in the summer.
Yeah, and I hope that we can get them in there. I mean, school I think starts the end of July, correct?
July.
I'm still hoping we can get them in there and get them done before school starts. That's the plan. So,
Anybody else?
Right, another item that would require some sort of action to add this to the CIP if we needed to, or some other idea if someone had that.
Mayor, I move that we amend the fiscal year 2027 tentative budget to include additional mill and overlay project on 14th Avenue.
Second. We have a motion and a second to approve, to amend the fiscal year 2027 tentative budget to include additional mill and overlay project on 14th Avenue. All in favor? Opposed? Okay.
All right, so on to the next one. Explore with mayor and council the options of including 54,000 of capital funding in fiscal year 2027 for the golf course. So the golf course had an initial CIP project of remodeling the kitchen for $60,000. They did not spend all of those funds. And then there was another item that was added in fiscal year 2026. We added the 4 projects you see there, the wedding venue, the entry, and the driving range. The entry did not, it is the entry. The entry did not spend the $10,000, so they would like those amounts carried over. So where's the analysis? So 40,000 of unrestricted fund balance would be used to cover this. In essence, you didn't spend it in this fiscal year, so now you would have it to spend in fiscal year 2027. Again, for the intended purposes, as stated before, it'd still be for the kitchen. Am I right there, Eric?
Yes.
And still for the entryway.
No.
No.
Driving range.
Driving range. Sorry.
So Troy, this is a carryover that we just didn't include in the
Correct.
budget,
So
and it should
in
have
essence,
been.
you should have
It-
savings this year that would fund this, and you're just
Right.
carrying it into the next year, letting them know the projects weren't done by June 30th. They'll be done in the next fiscal year.
Right, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, I move that we amend the, I'm sorry?
I just, we had just gave the golf course, what was 400 and something thousand
440,000 for operating. This is capital.
rating, and then this is the other. And we don't actually, we're due to redo our contract with them, aren't we?
Mayor and council, I can take that. So our contract is renewed May, so last month. So we have a year. We have a year. Right now, it's on year-to-year auto renewal. Unless either the city or our managing partner, Troon, indicates prior to 6 months of that ending that they want to make a change.
Well, I know the description you have here and what's going on there with the team isn't what I see going on out there, and so I'm hesitant at this time to show any more effort out there until we get a clearer idea what's going on.
Yeah, Mayor and Council, I guess I can answer that this way. So this Thursday, I'm meeting with the regional manager for Troon as well as the local leadership, the GM and the assistant GM. And I would just want to be clear, this is not asking for more funds. This is a project that we've already approved. It is almost complete. I sat down with our assistant GM and said, look, we could rush this and spend the money that's been approved before the end of the fiscal year in about 8-9 days. But we have our electricians out there right now finalizing some things, and I anticipate there may be some need that pops up as they work through that process. The technology is due to be installed by Top Tracer the latter part of August. So I would like these funds. The request is these funds be carried forward so we have them should anything happen. That's the driving range. I'll speak to the kitchen real quick. Now, there's about $12,000 remaining in that we didn't spend of the $60,000. And if you've been out there, you'll see the wonderful increases we did to a very, I don't even know if historic kitchen is the right term, but it needed some upgrades. As recent as 2 weeks ago, one of the fryers that we decided originally not to replace actually went down. Our team could not fix it. As wonderful as they are, it needed to be replaced. So we did have to order a new fryer, but that left some money to spend as well. The plan is that as we complete the driving range, the kitchen is going to support the driving range, not only in food service, but also in beverage service. There may be some more ideas that we can utilize that $12,000 for that tie it into the kitchen to increase food and beverage. I'm sure we all saw the comments recently about the golf course. Just to reiterate, our golf course generates about $1.5 million in revenue a year. And with these enhancements we've made out there, not only the event facility, which I've been told is booked starting in August through the end of the year, those reservation fees alone will be impactful, as well as the food and beverage increase that we see, but the increase that we should see from the driving range and the technology as well. The goal is that we reduce the liability to the taxpayer and hopefully one day make the golf course self-sufficient.
Just also looking at the 156,000 of contingency requests, so that's another thing I was looking at. That's,
Back in October when we approved the change in the budget is what you're looking at? This right here?
yes,
That, Mayor and Council, so that October, I think, 25?
Yeah.
That is when I brought to Mayor and Council the concept of the driving range and reallocating some funds that we already had set aside. I think it was $100,000 for the entry and the $100,000 for the wedding venue. Back then, that was a different concept. It was basically removing that north wall of the clubhouse. So those funds were reallocated. That's what we put to spend if you haven't seen the driving range, we were out there last Thursday night at 8 o'clock testing lights. It's incredible. I've not heard one negative comment yet. It's going to be a wonderful amenity to our golf course.
Mayor, you have Councilman McGoy.
Where does that leave the entryway? Is it now off the plate?
The entryway, so the plan was, I wouldn't say it's off, the plan was to reduce the initial ask. Was it $100,000? Can you scroll up? I think.
You took it down from 100,000 to 10.
We took that down to 10,000, and working with our public works director, the thought was we could enhance that entryway with just some better fence line instead of the barbed wire that's out there. So in looking at that, he felt the $10,000 was adequate to enhance that space.
And we're not asking for carryover of the 10. It's just the kitchen and the driving range, right? Okay, then the 10 is not currently in this equation right here.
The 10 should probably be an amendment to what we're asking right now, because we will not spend that in 9 days, and that needs to be improved.
So we'd be asking for $64,000, again, of unspent authority in 2026, carrying into 2027.
Sounds like I need to shut my mouth.
Thank you for the clarification, council member.
Again, you could say this is budget neutral. It's just a shuffling of years.
Anybody else?
Mayor, I move that we amend the fiscal year 2027 tentative budget to include an additional $64,000 carryover for the golf course.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to amend the fiscal year 2027 tentative budget to include additional carryover for the golf course. All in favor? Opposed?
All right, next item to explain to the mayor and council. So there's 2 items on vehicles tonight. So just want to differentiate. The first one, we're going to talk about our current vehicle replacement policy and what we currently do and the possibility of what it looks like if we change it. So it's a pretty simple one. Extended certain vehicle replacement lives of equipment and vehicles. As you can see, we have golf course, or what we call the small vehicles. Anything we can buy from Kempton's falls into that Chevy truck category. Police tiles are also what we buy from Kempton's, but they're very specifically used. Large equipment, and vehicles, fire trucks, sanitation trucks, and landfill equipment. So here's the estimated useful lives. As you can see at the beginning of the policy, the current balanced budget has $5.4 million. Again, this is just taking money out of the individual departments that own these vehicles and putting it into an internal service fund and setting it aside for future replacement. And we have a plan to spend $8.9 million, I think, this year. Again, a lot of it through debt to get on some of these vehicle replacements sooner than later. I did give you the analysis since I was able to go back. Each one of those categories, if I extended a year in the golf course, that'd be $18,000. If I extended 3 years, you could say that would be 3 times that number. Same thing with the what we call the Kempton vehicles, 116,000. That's just 1 year. If I did 3 more years and made it 10 years, that could be 360,000 ish. And then police Tahoes and trucks. Again, we wouldn't recommend it, but you could 33,000 for 1 year. 3 years would be just 3 times that amount. Large vehicles, 42,275. Again, right now your vehicle replacement's about 15 years. You would be pushing it to 18 years if you went 3 years. Fire trucks, we didn't even consider. They don't make parts for vehicles after 20 years, or they don't have to. They can still be available, but at some point you just can't fix the vehicle anymore. So fire trucks are already at 20 years. Sanitation trucks and landfill equipment, again, we wouldn't recommend it. These are the ones we're seeing the problem with already. So about $105,000 if we push those from 7 to 10 years up to 10 to 13 years. So again, I leave this up. I educate you guys. Is there anything you want to do with this one? Staff is not recommending. We currently have a balanced budget. So if there's anything you want to do, please make your motion, get your second, and we'll have a vote. And I can explain any further things that I need to.
So, yeah, like you said, I'm with the staff on police and sanitation. I don't see extending those at all because they're driven really hard, both of those departments. The other ones, you're driving from City Hall to, you're going the speed limit, you're doing this. Sanitation, you're stop and go. Police vehicles, I've been there when the city bumped them back to 7 years, and it was pretty miserable.
They currently are 7 years, so we're barely getting them back into that cycle. I think they got as long as 15 years. So
Yeah, over 5 they get pretty bad. So I'm just letting you guys know, just from experience.
And keep in mind, even though we're selling a vehicle 7 years, it's been throughout the city, it has light use on it, we're still getting a big return when we sell it. And that goes back into the vehicle replacement fund. Hopefully, one day when we're not selling things that are already broken, that would actually be funding so we could reduce this funding. But right now, we're not seeing that. We're selling the 15-year-old pieces of equipment with broken engines and transmissions, so we don't know. But the theory is even if I'm selling a 7-year-old Tahoe that was used by our public works director, it still gets a high resale value that goes right back into the vehicle replacement fund. So just think of it, I borrowed it for 7 years and now I'm selling it back, and we get them a new one and they use it for 7 years and we sell it back. We're expecting high resale value if they clean, take care of the vehicles, and the new policies that we put in place. So can I entertain anybody on any of the items? I just wanted to give you the facts. This is a lot of money, $5.4 million. We have more vehicles than we have people.
I just wanted to make the comment and remind council that I agree with Luke, but we're also trying to find ways to save money because people are wanting a holiday bonus put back in. So it's not just the fact of, well, we're not saving enough from this. We're trying to find some money to give out a holiday bonus. So I want us to make sure that we're looking at it in that light too.
That is this could be used to offset, because again, when we get to the holiday bonus, I don't have that full equation solved yet, so.
Mayor, and I agree completely with that comment as well. I wouldn't be opposed to trying a 1 year. Again, not the sanitation or the police.
So small vehicles and large vehicles, what I call the Kempton vehicles. So push them to 8 and then push the large vehicles to 16.
What do you have as golf course equipment though?
So that's just new for this year. We went out to the golf course and assessed their 16 pieces of equipment. They're very expensive mowers for the most part. There's other specialty equipment. The 5-year useful life, those things they get used all the time. So at 5 years, they are beat. We usually buy used, so we never really get the 5-year useful life out of it. We're trying to buy new stuff there, trying to keep stuff more modern. This would be our first endeavor into that. I don't know what the answer is to that. I wouldn't suggest it. We don't see the equipment lasting 6 years. After sharpening the blades over and over and over for 6 years, it's just not there. So golf course equipment gets treated hard.
I'll make a motion for 1 year unless there's more, if somebody's interested in more than that. 3 sounds,
1 year
Right.
on what categories? Small and large? When I say small, I mean Chevy trucks is what I call it. Colorado's the 15
everything except for the police and the
sanitation and landfill.
station and the fire trucks.
Can I encourage you on golf course to not touch it?
Sure.
Okay.
I'm still with staff's recommendation.
So a balanced budget, leave it the way it is.
Yes, it took a long time to get, we've been experimenting for a decade now on different exchanges and, again, the dump trucks come and go, they take a beating, there's no doubt about it. And landfill equipment takes a beating, so I'm with staff's recommendation still.
And my hope is 3 to 4 years from now, we can finally see returns on sales of vehicles that could offset our $5.4 million ask. But right now, we're just not seeing it. I'm having to almost pay to get rid of things.
Anybody else?
Well, I'll make the motion and we'll vote.
Yep.
Yeah. And if I get it wrong, Troy, help me out. I move that we amend the tentative budget for fiscal year 2027 to change vehicle replacement use life by 1 year for the Chevy trucks, the large vehicles and equipment. And that's it.
Makes sense.
And the golf course. I'll add the golf course.
Okay, so that's
I'll second that.
that's a
That
so we're
was-
looking at about $170,000 you're saving by doing that.
Yes.
Yes. A little bit of politics got squeezed in there, Troy, I'm afraid.
Thanks.
Can you say?
Was there a second?
I seconded it.
Okay.
Yes.
I want to make sure on your motion. So it was to make those 1 year?
No, increase them by 1 year.
Increase by 1
Increase them
year.
by 1 year.
Golf course equipment, the Chevrolet trucks and the large vehicles and equipment. Leave the police, the fire trucks and the sanitation landfill as they are.
Leaves that like they are.
And
Thank
I
you.
seconded that.
Thank you.
Okay, and we have a motion and a second on that. All in favor? Opposed?
Okay, there's 170,000 we just saved. Okay, so moving on to, this is the second one of the vehicle replacements. Sorry, I titled it the same, but this one's a little bit different. So we often refer to these as ghost vehicles. So there's certain vehicles that we have kept around. Another department will use them, again, taking the useful life and using them a little bit longer than the intended useful life, and then trying to resell them. So we're really losing out on the resale market when we do that. But in the new vehicle replacement model, these actually have replacement costs in them. So one day we can get to a world where they could actually have a new vehicle. So I didn't want to make opinions on what's a ghost vehicle, what's not, but I gave you all 218 vehicles and equipment, and you can decide which ones you want to pick out of there, which departments should be, should not be. You can take out whatever, but this is the vehicle replacement. This is what makes up $5.4 million if you multiply this out over. It's a long, long spreadsheet.
Mayor, so I know this was an item that I requested, and I don't know that I actually would like for you to tell us which ones are the ghost vehicles, because that's what we need. And you had the right idea. You mentioned at the last meeting that it's basically the vehicles that didn't have a prior year, and now this current year, now you're adding that expense. And so I would actually like to motion to table this item and instruct staff to come back with a list of those, what you're referring to as ghost vehicles, with the amounts that would be, that last column of the current yearly replacement cost with those vehicles.
So I know I gave you a rough definition of a ghost vehicle, but as I started to go through this with staff and talk about it, every one of those vehicles that is a ghost vehicle is getting used for an intended purpose. There's an intended purpose for it. So we call it a ghost vehicle, kind of a disparaging name for it, but it is getting used. So I don't I didn't want to recommend things because these are vehicles that they're not just going there to sit. They actually get used in their intended purpose. So I can call out what I believe you would think is a ghost vehicle, but they are being used. Every vehicle here has a use. It gets used either to go to meetings. It could be going from building to building. It could be new projects that have come up that they need to go out in the field more often than not. So I'd hate to weigh in on what I believe is a ghost vehicle, but I believe every vehicle here has an intended purpose and use.
Well, I
So-
think some of those vehicles that were replaced, and then they took that vehicle that was replaced and put into another department that did not have a vehicle. That's what staff did,
Yeah.
correct?
Yes.
Okay, so those vehicles never came to council as an approval to say, yes, we want to add that to our fleet. So staff basically added those vehicles to our fleet, really with no approval from council saying, yes, we want to add this into our vehicle replacement. You've defined why you need it. You've defined your need to us. And then we would say yes or no, we agree with that. In my opinion, I don't think the finance department really needs a vehicle. I know that was one that stood out to me because I was in the department. And so if I scheduled a meeting, I scheduled it and had the other departments come to me because they had vehicles and they had that need for the vehicle. So I didn't necessarily need to drive to their locations. And I think we've gotten away from some of that. And I think this is a way that we can cut down on costs and cut down on some expenses. And I do think that staff, if they want to add a vehicle to the fleet, it needs to come to council for an approval.
Great example for finance. So yes, we did add the vehicle, but what it is for is actually this project that's meter replacement project. I'm sending my customer service people out in the field. So our 3 AMI vehicles get used by our 3 AMI workers when we have them. So this is actually for customer service. I also use it to go between departments as we do capital assets more often. So it is getting used, but again, we did allocate, like you said, without council permission, and we never added it. This would be for the first time to actually make it a newer vehicle rather than a used. It's the 2017 vehicle that we're using right now. But yes, that is a good example of what you could call a ghost vehicle.
And I would recommend if staff provides us with that list and with a explanation as to why those departments need those vehicles and why we're adding them to our fleet, that would be helpful. Right now, we have a huge list of vehicles that we have no explanation. And so I do feel like it needs to be tabled and we need to be provided more information so that we can make a decision.
Okay. Mayor, just a comment, and Councilmember Flores, thank you for that. I just don't want those listening to get the idea that we're out there purchasing vehicles without council approval. The ghost vehicle is, for instance, this truck we're talking about. It was previously used by the police department, and instead of going to auction, it shifted over to finance. So I know what you're saying because we've had this conversation. I just want it known that we're not going out buying more vehicles without discussing that with council. But the definition of a ghost vehicle is moving it from a previous use, I guess, to a different department. That discussion did not come to council. You are correct. I just wanted to clarify. Thank you.
We can do that for July 13th if you want.
Yeah, I do think we have the time as well because this is something that would reduce the budget. If we decide to take any of these out, it would reduce the budget. So it shouldn't affect your timeline to be able to work on the budget. So I would recommend that you don't allow this to affect your timeline with the budget. It's also done by a journal entry. And so this is something that you could process later in the year. It should not affect budget going into effect and all the other changes being made. So I would like to make a motion that we table this and have staff bring us some more information.
Second.
Okay, any more discussion?
No? Oh, okay.
No, I was just I didn't know if that was an official motion or if you were.
No, that is my official motion, yes.
And we have a second. Okay, so a motion and a second to table item number 5. That's amend tentative budget vehicle replacement use life. All in favor? Opposed?
All right, on to the next one. So it's to explore with mayor and council options for effluent or surface water funding for the golf course. I believe there's 2 items that are related to this, maybe just one. So again, just presenting the facts, what we know about effluent. So effluent's used at the golf course since the water treatment plant was created in 2002. The water treatment plant had no substantial other use for so the water was going to the river before. It now got diverted and went to the golf course since 2002. We have not charged the golf course until this year. We've added it to the budget for the very first time in 2027. There was in 2014 another user that came on, and they did create a price for effluent at that point. That was the county duck ponds or the fairground ponds. It was based on the debt that they had to issue for the pipeline that went up 14th Avenue and Discovery all the way to the duck ponds. That was $2.50 per 1,000 gallons. As we've researched, that dollar amount seems to be right in the middle of what other entities in the state of Arizona. A lot of this is done by contract because you really can't guarantee how much water is coming into the effluent system. So having just a price out there kind of gives people an idea that they could at any time ask for this service, and it has to be dependent upon water availability. So we've been monitoring the flows since 2018. As you can see, there's a gallon in the one column that goes from 204,000 gallons, 204 million gallons. Sorry, you have to add thousands because it's in thousands. That's 204 million gallons in 2018, all the way down to 161 million gallons go to the golf course. That's an average of 191 million gallons of effluent that go to the golf course. They are our single biggest user of effluent. If you put a dollar amount based on that county contract, that would be about $478,000. So historically, the city of Safford Water Utility did not charge the golf course for this benefit, which meant that the 4,000 or so city of Safford wastewater utility customers lacked the diversified revenue stream outside of just raising the rates. So the customers that were actually paying for this were all of the wastewater sewer users inside the city. There's a few outside the city that also would pay for this as you go up to the federal prison. So those people, again, we've looked at the rates there. We looked at that fund. That fund is struggling to keep up with the amount of expenditures going on. The diversification of revenues is what I've talked about during this budget process and coming up with, so we're talking about new ways to sell stuff at the effluent plant itself, the dumping of an RV, the use of non-potable water. We currently give that away for free at the effluent plant still. So these are things that we're looking at in 2027 to start charging customers for. Again, not big revenue streams like the golf course. So the $478,000 is basically sales tax dollars, property tax dollars being used to pay the effluent. So it pays the sewer fund so that the sewer rates don't have to go up. The other part of that is Fry Mesa. Fry Mesa is surface water. Unless you treat that and build a water treatment plant, that water is useless to us, but it does go against us for our Globe Equity Decree numbers. So we actually have to report the amount of water we use out of Fry Mesa. That's gone anywhere from 37 million gallons all the way to currently in 2025, it was just 5 million gallons. So the runoff there is always a little bit different from year to year. As you can see, it varies, but on average, about 20 million gallons of surface water runs out over the Fry Mesa Dam and down into various pond structures as it comes to the golf course. We were going to put a dollar amount to that, and that's also included in this year's budget, about $51,000, $51,000 of the $530,000 that we're using of sales tax dollars to pay for it, and that would offset, that would go to the wastewater treatment plant. So that's an additional $51,000 of revenue. The current golf course budget includes $530,000 for effluent. Again, that's just the budget. What actually occurs as we monitor for 2027, it could be completely different. We could have a lot of hot months and they could use a lot more effluent than they've ever used. There could be a lot of runoff from Fry Mesa and they could be using a lot of the Fry Mesa water. But again, our best budgetary estimate is $530,000 for effluent and surface water from Fry Mesa. All proceeds help fund the wastewater fund operation and future capital projects. Fiscal year 2028 golf course irrigation project is one of the improvements that's in the CIP for fiscal year 28. There is $100,000 in 2027 to finalize that project, get it closer to design, and then $5.1 million of debt would be issued right now in the CIP in fiscal year 2028. The annual debt service of that is about $400,000. So the idea was this money that we're getting from the golf course could be used to fund that debt, which would allow us to build that irrigation system at the golf course. So it's sales tax dollars paying the wastewater treatment fund that is in essence going to issue the debt to build the infrastructure at the golf course. And again, there would be excess funds that would go to the wastewater treatment plant and help reduce the rates and any future rate impacts as we see going on. So with that in mind, those are the facts. What do you want to do with effluent and surface water at the golf course?
So, I did have the opportunity to talk to Erin Medina, the assistant general manager there at the golf course, and also Morgan Seal, our water manager. And they did confirm that they are monitoring the water that is going to the golf course and what is being used to irrigate at the golf course. And what they're actually using to irrigate is about 50% of what we're sending. So half of this water that you're reporting here is just either seeping into the ground or evaporating.
That's correct.
I think that the ponds that are out there currently need something that we can help reduce some of that seepage so that we can give them a tool to manage that water usage. Right now, we're just saying, you need that and you're kind of at our mercy and there's no way for them to really manage that usage. And so I would like us to maybe start with $1.50 per 1,000 gallon instead of going with $2.50. And then phase in
Should be
over
about
a couple
200
of
per-
years. So $1.50 fiscal year 27, add in 50 cents fiscal year 28, another 50 cents fiscal year 29. And with that, I also want to mention that as I was speaking with those two, they did mention that the irrigation system right now that they got a quote from through Troon was closer to 3.5 million. And so if the debt service was less, we would be putting less money into the debt service and more of that revenue would be going into our sewer fund. So I think using that 250 and putting that pressure onto our general fund with our unrestricted revenue is not a reasonable ask. I think we should phase that in. And so,
$1.50 the first year, $2 the next year, and $2.50 that year after.
yes, to get us, because I definitely, there is value in that, in the effluent water. I had a comment one time that I didn't see the value in the effluent water, but there is value in that effluent water. And it is to help by charging, we are then helping our sewer customers. And so we do need to get there. I think phasing it in is a reasonable request. So that would be what I would recommend.
And just a counterpoint to what you're saying, the reason I haven't changed the budget based on what the golf course has talked to, that lesser price, I'm not quite sure on that estimate, but I'd like to see the 5.1 used in a way that could address the seepage and the evaporation better. So I don't want to reduce the project because overall, in order to get the funds, I have to show water savings. So it's great that we build an irrigation system and the golf course gets what it wants, but I think the effluent system needs to build something that it needs, not just what the golf course needs. So this is really a sewer project in my mind, and that's why I have yet to reduce it. But just a counterpoint to your recommendation. But
I'm glad you point that out because I do agree. If we can get a tank at the sewer
That's what I'm
plant,
thinking,
we
but those are
need
expensive.
that. That is definitely a need. And then
Somebody just
we
laughs at
have
me.
the effluent water there and it's available to sell to other customers. So
And if we could save 100 million gallons, I could actually start watering our own parks that we currently have plumbed, we just don't have the water. So there's a lot of hopes and dreams here. I don't know what we want to do tonight, but you have made a recommendation. If you'd like to find a second.
I like the recommendation and very crude math. Even at $2, I think we're over 400,000. Based on the numbers that are here, I think. a
But we
fifth-
could get to what we need to.
I think we could get a fifth, yeah. So graduated up, I think we'd still hit our numbers.
I'm glad you see the value in it now. Thank you. But, okay, I see the logic that you're talking about to phase it in and stuff. But the sooner we get our hands on the money, the sooner we can line them ponds and stop the evaporation and do the things we do need to do out there. I even think we do have maintenance at Prime Mesa, I think, that we're obligated to. So we need the monies there also.
There's a lot of plans, but I'd hate to get our hopes up that 5.1 could solve all of our problems. It could be 10.2 in order to solve all of our problems. So 5.1 was just a stab in the dark, but
And then we're paying ourselves, so it's our money paying. So I'm with the initial recommendation.
anybody else?
I'm caught between both because I know that there's an expense from one end to the other. It costs us to make the effluent water. We have overhead, we've got employees, so we have to keep that in mind too. So I think this is just a really hard one that we need to make sure we are charging something, because how can we charge the county but not charge ourselves? It's still a product. We have to remember it's still a product, but the what we charge is hard because we need to at least be making sure we're covering our expenses for this.
All great points.
Because if we need, we can go back the other way. If we need to reduce it next year instead of raise it, we can do that too. We're paying ourselves.
I think that $100,000 we have in the budget this year that's coming out of general fund, not even, it's just general fund paying for it. Or I think it's wastewater paying for it. Sorry, it's wastewater user funds paying for it. But that will give us a better idea of what we can afford and what we can't. I just don't know budgetarily what, if we restrict ourselves here, there is always, we can come back to contingency and change our mind in the future, but my contingency funds are pretty limited in this year's budget. So I don't have a $4 million swing in me.
And the estimate of 3 million for the sprinkler system, that's the lowest one I've heard so far. Because it started out like 7 million. So if that's the actual, I know we can do it for less than what I first heard it.
Mayor Ortega, you have Councilman McGoy with his hand up.
I was just curious. I can't wrap my head around the fact that we're going to take money from here and move it to here. I mean, it's still going to cost our customers the same amount of money. It just depends on where it comes from.
So I guess the customers, instead of paying out of their utility rate, their wastewater utility rate, that $400,000 is coming from sales tax that's generated at Walmart, helps pay for it, and goes straight into the wastewater fund without being part of the fee structure. They have a diversified revenue stream outside of just raising fees. They have all these other lines of business where they can change the rate and charge to somebody that isn't using the wastewater treatment.
So you're recommending that it come out of general funds rather than their utility rate?
Yes, this will be
Okay.
the first time that the sales tax dollars will be used to pay for the $5.1 million project in the form of debt. So an extra $530,000.
And we have that money.
It is in the balanced budget. So I've given you a balanced budget where we can afford this the way it is stands. Again, we'll know more once we do the $100,000 worth of design.
Mayor, just a final comment, just to help clarify. So the latest numbers when you're looking at the irrigation system, and this was direct from our partners at Troon. Now they have a design already that was recent. I don't remember how recent, it's the last couple of years. They put a cost to that. So and this is a different number, but it's $3.2 million is what I can tell you, the number I was told by our management team at the golf course recently.
I rounded up. FYI.
But again, that's only the sprinkler
That's
system.
just
I
the
think
system,
there's more
yes.
stuff. Seepage is not addressed. Evaporation is not addressed. We have 100 million gallons that gets lost that we could use for other parks if we just adventure and make it an effluent treatment plant.
Just a quick comment. It may not be that impactful, but I don't know that there's much importance in the fact that we're moving general funds into restricted funds.
Correct. I mean, you are.
And I don't know if that's overly impactful, tying our hands to some extent, but just a final point.
Correct. If you do that, then yes, it does go into wastewater and it has to be used for wastewater purposes. So you are restricting it more than what it is. Sales tax dollars can be used on anything. So
Troy, do you know, just off the top of your head, a round number, what we spend to water our other parks and whether
I tried to gather that. I think it's in the $250,000 range, and that's before the tier structure that we just implemented in November. It could be $300,000, $400,000.
And
that we
what
spend.
if we worry about the seepage and the evaporation? The other half, I mean, we don't have a price for that. Maybe that's the cheaper half.
It's the idea of this tank. I think the tank is the only way we're going to stop all of that. But can we build a tank there? Is the tank the proper flow? There's all this engineering that needs to go in. Does everyone want a tank in their backyard that size of a 3-story building. I mean,
We could probably.
I don't know.
Clear up where Blue Ponds tanks already are, and you can't hardly see them anyway.
If I could water our new park on Discovery, on 8th and Discovery, that'd be awesome. It is plumb for it. We just don't have the water to give it. So,
Be nice to see how, if money was no object, how could you?
and so keep in mind, this is just budget. We don't have to spend the money. We have to bring contracts in front of you, anything over $60,000. So we haven't made a final decision here tonight. We just said we haven't limited ourselves. We've left it wide open. We could always just not spend the money. I guess I would transfer the money automatically, but I mean, there's some things we could do there that we don't issue the contract for the $100,000 to do the golf course irrigation system. That would stop this. I can't really do much at that point. I need to have some place for the water to go. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. In the budget, we believe the answer is moving forward on a $5.1 million project. Again, refining that in 2027, spending it in 2028. We believe the general fund can currently fund it. It hasn't paid for it for the last 20 some odd years. So this would be a start. It is a major impact all at once, but we've known this water is going on. I think it's good to put a dollar amount to it that makes sense. The $1.50 is still a good number. I think the $2.50 is still a good number too. Now, who knows what the right answer is there? We charge, remember our base rate for water for the first 8,000 gallons is $2.11. So is effluent worth more, less? Is it the same? Is it drinkable? Yes. No, it's not. Per law, you cannot currently drink it. But that's the other problem that we're facing out there is the water, the way we treat it, and it goes into these various ponds, it ends up being contaminated all the way up the process. And so technically, at some point, it's not grade A anymore that we're putting on the golf course. So we could be doing better there just by giving them cleaner water that's coming straight from the plant without falling into various ponds along the way. Ponds in the desert make no sense. I've learned that. I've learned nothing in my 23-year career. Ponds in the desert make no sense.
Is it possible to take the .1 and do a study on how much water we could save if we did all these things at this price? And then if there is a market for it between the parks and the schools or the whatever?
You're the master compromiser. So yes, we could do the $1.50, work our way into it, get more information at the 100,000. It's just, those are going to be impacts on the general fund that hopefully it can affect over the next few years. Again, sales tax is stagnant, so we can't really depend on huge growth. So if we're taking out 200,000 now, then that 200,000 can get spent on something else, and then it's not there for coming back to pay for this. But yes, I think a compromise could be $1.50 right now, like she had, and look at the $100,000 study. Again, shoot for what's it really going to take to make an effluent system, not just a golf course irrigation project. That's the reason the whole project got shifted over to wastewater, and see where we land up.
All right, so I'm going to make a motion, and I'm going to read it because it's a long one. So I move to amend the tentative budget to reflect a reclaimed water rate of $1.50 per 1,000 gallons for city facilities, including the golf course for FY27. I further direct staff to return to council with a proposed reclaimed water rate schedule establishing a $2.50 per 1,000 gallon rate for non-city users and $1.50 per 1,000 gallon rate for city facilities, including the golf course. The rates to be posted for 60 days after council approval before taking effect. I want us to get used to that process.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to amend the tentative budget. Any more discussion? All in favor? Opposed?
All right. So we do have some savings in the general fund there. We had some savings from a previous vehicle extending that useful life 1 year. So this is the item, the hardest one that we're getting to tonight. So to explore with the mayor and council options for funding the holiday bonuses that we took out in order to balance the budget. So as you can see, there's 4 different categories of funds that all have holiday bonuses in them. The biggest one is the general fund, $93,270. But there still is a street fund that is funded by a contribution of sales tax and HERF dollars, internal service funds, which are customers throughout all of the funds, mostly the enterprise funds, and then enterprise funds are paid for by utility fees. So altogether, the bonuses are $167,240 if you stay at the what we call the grossed up price. So it's not $500. It's $500 the person sees when they get their check, but it was grossed up in such a way that it paid for the voluntary or the retirement, the FICA, the Medicare. So it ended up being like $840 for some employees, police officers, because their pension doesn't allow such a bonus to be counted as part of theirs. Theirs was actually cheaper. So, but yeah, if we didn't gross it up, that would be a way of reducing that $167,000. So there is that impact. I didn't throw that in here as I was thinking about this. But right now, we have some options. There's been some talk of reduction in council donation program. But again, it's got to be substantial enough to cover all of these funds. So at one time I heard we were going to do some dollar amount less, but we've done some other things tonight that help fund this. So maybe we don't need that. And then any other tentative budget, but in order to stay balanced, I need to know what's coming up and what's going down. So, yeah, I turn it over to you. What do you think about holiday bonuses? You want to fund them? Is there something you want to cut? I mean, it sounds like just the cuts we made in vehicles tonight might be able to get this close to this. I think it was 170,000. This is 167. Again, where the vehicles are in the various funds. Hopefully the people in the vehicles match up. That could probably be taken care of. But again, what do you want to do? It does affect firefighters. I have to point that out, that they do not get merit COLA or market adjustments. So they get, if you don't have this, they get nothing.
I'm still in favor of the Christmas bonus, and I'm not opposed to not grossing it up if that helps. But if we do have the savings that you just mentioned from the vehicle replacement and that might cover it or close, that would be my recommendation. And even there was talk about our charitable program, if we reduced it by $35,000 to $10,000 per council person, that might do it as well. And then again, a reminder too, that we're just budgeting for it. We
Correct.
approve it or don't approve it in
That vote happens in November, the
November.
first
This is
first meeting in
just
November.
putting it in the budget.
Correct. If you don't have it in the budget, it's not even possible.
I just want to make my line in the sand clear that I'm not willing to cut what we give back to the community. We've got people out there who can't even afford a bonus. I'm not saying I don't want to give the employees a bonus. I'm saying I'm not willing to cut our give back because there are truly people out there who need those funds. And so a bonus would be nice. It's a nice, but it's not a need. And we've got people out there who need. So I'm not willing to cut the donation program. I think that our residents deserve for us to give back to them. So that one, I'm just,
Valid point.
I would like to see if what we've proposed tonight with that, if you could come back to us and see if that's enough to cover. But
Between
I
the
wouldn't.
items that you've done tonight, even the change in the general fund for the golf course. I mean,
Right.
we definitely can afford this. It's just
Between the
it's the
two,
moral
I
ethical
agree.
issue of, do we want it?
And I've said for several years now, I don't believe the council should get a bonus.
Just saved
Because we could,
$4,000.
if we hadn't saved all this, we could have gave up ours and then grossed up to 800 and something. That would have been $6,000 or something. We could have thrown into the hat also.
It does raise some interesting questions, but I'll leave that for our council.
I'll donate mine. You can count mine to go to the bonus. I don't need mine. I don't want it.
Motions or seconds? Is what we need. This is the final item.
Okay. Mayor, I amend that we move that we amend the tentative budget to include the $500 grossed up holiday bonus to be budgeted using the funds that we've already saved from previous cuts tonight.
Second. Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the tentative.
Yeah, there'll be a,
And I'd like you to consider an amendment to your motion to the council not receiving the bonus.
Make the motion, see if it gets.
yeah, my motion is what my motion is.
So
Gotta
what's
get-
the rules? You
Got
gotta,
to get approved and
I
then
think you
you
have to
can
do the
amend
first
it.
motion and then
So Mayor,
second.
Vice Mayor, the motion is up to Mr. Hemphill, and he's addressed it to his liking. If you would like to have yours also, you can make an additional motion after this vote on his motion that's currently made.
Okay, you believe those are the rules?
Bill, are you on the line? You can clarify that
yeah.
for Vice Mayor? Thank you.
But I also want to talk about this bonus to the council. I don't understand that question at all. So let's do the motion as you just described, B is correct.
Thank you, Bill. So we have a motion to include it and second by Councilmember Arbizo. Mayor, whenever you're ready, you can proceed with the vote.
All in favor? Opposed?
Oh, is there a second motion?
The second motion was to, the council not to receive the bonus.
Okay.
Second.
Seconded.
May I ask, may I
not on
ask
the
what bonus we're
agenda.
talking? Yeah, but
How do we
I
do
don't
that?
understand how council can get
Holiday
bonuses.
bonus.
Can
Christmas
we
bonus.
have action on something that's not on the agenda?
No.
That,
And
yeah.
I don't know
so-
that and I don't think you can vote on a bonus for yourself while you're still in office.
Yeah, and so just Mayor, Vice Mayor, to clarify, this is just to make sure it's included in the budget, the actual approval of who can receive it. You can make that motion in
Yes.
first meeting of
First meeting in
November,
November, yeah.
when
That's
that's
right.
actually brought forward to even decide if you're going to give the actual holiday bonus to even employees. This is strictly just to include the numbers in our budget. We'll bring this item back for actual approval of the holiday bonus in November.
Did Bill say he didn't believe it was legal for us to vote ourselves a bonus?
Bill, you're still on the line. If you could clarify for Vice Mayor, please.
Not during your term. You can increase your compensation out beyond your term. In fact, Mr. Vice Mayor, you've asked this question. You've been very, you've analyzed this question quite closely concerning health benefits.
And that question is still on the table, so. that's
We have
for
to
ano-
answer that. Yes, sir.
Bill?
Yes, sir.
Bill,
Yes.
the vote is to not continue to get a bonus that we've been getting.
Oh,
I don't know if that makes a difference.
well, but right now, all we're doing now is putting it in. Oh, you're trying to find savings, correct?
Correct.
You can't, well, I gotta, let me look to see. There's an AG opinion that I've been working on for the vice mayor. You raise a good question, but I don't have an answer. I'll look right now. I need time to look at that one. Just a sec.
Well, and we need to know if us having gotten it was legal in the first place.
Well, it depends when you voted it, and that's what we're working on to answer the vice mayor's question regarding health benefits. Right
Yes, Bill.
now, let's put something in the budget. No decision will be made until after November, then I can get back to you about
Correct.
whether or not you can vote during your period of term to reduce your.
That's
Oh, no,
correct.
you can't increase your compensation. I don't know what the answer is. Can't change your compensation. I don't know the answer to that. I'll have to look.
Well, we probably put it into effect during our own term also.
2 years ago.
It's been longer than 2 years, but we've got a bonus a couple of times at least.
Did you have that bonus? Did you vote on it while you were serving your term?
Yes.
Yeah, I've been here 10 years and we didn't get it all
Okay.
10 years.
I can get those exact, those exact dates
Okay,
for you,
let me
Bill.
get with B on that. This relates to the question the vice mayor asked about health benefits. Yes.
I just don't want to stray from the agenda item, which is to
Yes.
include it. And so we will bring that back for you, Vice Mayor, for sure, and get those
Yes.
answers.
Okay, that's it. Those are the 7 items. We'll come back on the 13th with one more discussion on vehicles and specifically ghost vehicles. We'll try to get you a recommendation for that.
We don't need a vote on item 7.
We did already.
Okay, so now we'll close the regular meeting and convene into executive session.
Mayor, I move that we convene an executive session after a 5-minute break.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to convene into executive session after a 5-minute break. All in favor? Thank you, everybody. We'll close the executive session and reconvene into our regular meeting. Item number 19, announcement of current events.
Let me see, where, I got one somewhere.
Mayor, just a reminder, tomorrow, 11 a.m., Mayor Jason Couts Park groundbreaking. It will be in the area of 8th Avenue and 26th Street near their construction trailer. We will have shade, we will have water. Our intent is to have an event, but understand that it will also be very hot tomorrow. So we'll do our best to be diligent in time.
I have one, Mayor. I was hoping that we could consider and put it on the agenda to be able to raise the contract limit from 60,000 up a little bit more. They requested,
On item 19 for announcement of current events, give us just a second for us to be on number 20, and you can request that.
okay, that's a better place.
Okay, nothing from the item.
Mayor,
nine-
I had one for current events. Sorry. We're still trying to figure out the details about the 4th of July parade. In the event that they allow for each council to have, like the town of Pima and Thatcher and us, your own float, are you interested in having your own float for City of Safford Council?
Yes.
Yeah? Sounds good?
I don't know, I'm spread out all over. I thought I was going with you.
There's different details out there about how they're going to be doing the parade. I've heard rumors of all the councils are going to walk together at the beginning. And so I just wanted to have some direction now, because if they do allow for us to have our own float, if everyone was okay with that.
Yes.
I would say my preferred is to walk with all the other entities if that's what they're wanting to do.
Okay.
You know, the chamber's wanting to do. But if they're saying everyone else is just going to do their own floats and we would just be all in the front,
Okay.
one right after the other, then
Also,
that's
just play
fine.
it by ear. If I see that they say either or, like go walk or and have your float, if the other councils and towns are doing their own float, even if you guys aren't walking with us, Jessica and I will put something together to represent us in the actual parade, if that's okay with everyone.
We just have to keep in mind too, it's an election year, so we've got 3 who probably want to do a float.
And that's completely up to them if they want to. I heard there might be some limitations on what's being done, but again, I don't know.
They took the limitations
Yeah,
away.
No,
Oh, good,
no
good,
limitations.
perfect.
And just briefly, so one of the ideas was if we do walk as a joint council with the other councils in the Gila Valley, those that wanted to have their own float for those reasons, we could get them back to the starting point so they could then take their own float through the route. We could do that with the golf cart. We can get extra golf carts. I can help pick up and shuttle people as well. We can make that happen. We just need to make sure we clarify that before the parade kicks off.
All the walking. But yeah, I just want, if everyone's okay with that, we'll just plan to have a float either way, whichever way it goes. All right, thank you.
Okay, then we'll go on to item 20, request.
Excuse me, Mayor, I just want to announce real quick, we talked a lot about the accreditation tonight. July 15th will be our official hearing date, so just want to let everybody know on that. So again, thank you for that.
And item 20, request for future agenda items.
Okay, Mr. Henry was talking about if he could raise, we have it at 60,000 right now. Costs have gone up. He would like to see if we could not change that to where it's more and he could work with it a little better. In fact, he said, for one example, the cement at Owens Park, it was just barely over 60,000, but they worked with him to make it below 60,000. So he got to use a local contractor in order to do that. He's hoping to raise this up. I don't know what amount. I would have to ask him if we could bump him up in that contract thing. I think I got it worded. You might have to talk to Mr. Henry about it better.
I got it. Yeah,
Okay.
just looking into raising the purchasing limit for staff.
I think so.
I would like to see us do something for Justin Gaethje. He won the championship. He is very proudly says he's from Safford, Arizona. Whether we make a day for him, the Justin Gaethje Day, or we do something, but I know people were very disappointed in us for not doing a parade or anything.
And Mayor and Councilwoman Bratner, we've been receiving calls nonstop at the clerk's office. I guess on a public forum, we're going to do something. We just are trying to plan. We've been in communication with his mom, Caro, and I believe other
Yeah.
as a management team for him. He's just not available right now. So we
If I-
want to make sure that we celebrate him with him actually here.
Right,
I
and
talked to his mom and his dad. I see him every Sunday. And the thing is, right now, he's booked solid. And the time he might make it down, or he probably will be down, he always comes down in October for the one, what, the golf.
The Boys and Girls Club golf tournament, yeah.
Penalty
So
flag.
yeah, we're working on something. It's just really hard to try to figure out what to do and when can we get him here. So
Maybe we could do like a stay tuned, so that way the public sees we're working on something.
yeah,
'cause
that's a good idea.
they're pretty mad.
I've had reservation council members calling me on what we're gonna do.
Yeah,
if
it's
I-
definitely going to be something huge. And congratulations to Justin Gaethje too.
Yeah, thank you. Mayor and council, and like he said, we are working on something in coordination with the family. Of course, we don't want to speak out of turn. Mr. Gaethje hasn't been back to the Gila Valley since the fight, as far as I know. And I'm actually going to meet with Mick, our events liaison, either tomorrow or the next day to finalize some plans. He's already been working on putting this together, just waiting for the date that Justin will be back in Safford. But we will celebrate.
It will happen for sure. We know
Yes.
it. Okay. Next, item number 21.
Mayor, real quick, I had a bet that we were here till 9:47. So can we hold off for the motion till 9:47?
No.
You can sit here.
Feel free.
For the request for future, or number 21, for how long?
Mayor, move that we adjourn.
Second.
Sorry,
Lose,
B.
B.
You lose.
Dang it.
We all vote.
Thank you.